For the first time since Jerry Hall, Mrs. Gregory, and Tex Bradford have been prisoners on their captive yacht at the magic island of Euclidia, they have a chance to escape. G-47, their mad scientific captor, has allowed them to remain aboard their yacht. With the aid of the opaque cloth made on the island, our friends have insulated a cabin on the yacht and may talk in safety. Their radio is useless for transmission, but through code messages received from the operator on the other Gregory boat, help may soon be near. Captain Bradford is about to explain the plan to Jerry as Joan and her mother come into the cabin.
Now, hurry and get under this thing, Pat. You too, Joan. Well, Pat, thanks to you and your determination to take the bosun and bosun's mate with us on every cruise, we're about to get a message to Johnson.
How long will it take Johnson to get within range?
It all depends on what time he sails from San Pedro. We'll keep our receiver open, and he'll let us know when he's within striking distance.
And how much we'll all owe to the little bosun and his mate. I'm certainly glad now we've always carried them and trained them.
Hey, for the love of Pete, will you two quit talking and tell somebody else what it's all about?
Yes, Mother. You and the captain talk so fast. Jerry and I do not know what it is all about.
I'm sorry, Joan. I was just going to explain it to Jerry when you and your mother came back to the cabin.
You see, Joan, dear, we haven't had a chance to show you over the whole boat as yet, and we forgot you hadn't seen the pigeons.
Well, of all the nuts, I'm the worst. I watched those pigeons all the way down here from Los Angeles and never thought to ask a question about them.
But what can pigeons have to do with getting a message to your friend Johnson?
They're not just pigeons. They're homing pigeons. Gosh, and I never even thought of it.
Well, don't feel too badly, Jerry. You're quick enough to see the significance in most things.
Say, Joan.
Yes, Captain Bradford?
Didn't you ever hear them talk about homing pigeons here on Euclidia?
I have never heard a word about them. So it must be that the scientists do not talk much about them, for they are so sure no one can escape from the island that they discuss most things before all of us.
I hope you're right, and it seems possible that you are. This infernal Euclidia is so far ahead of the world in scientific development, they must have forgotten the old standbys, or scorn to use them.
G-47 always says that all things scientific are superior to the finest things in nature.
That belief is the first weakness in the reasoning of G-47 that I have found.
I guess he figures that homing pigeons are old-fashioned.
That may be, but they're the only possible method of getting a message through that magnetized fog and all the other electrochemical devices this island is protected with.
Do these pigeons really carry messages?
You bet they do. And they fly fast, too.
It is wonderful to learn that. We have pigeons on Euclidia also, but they are used only for pigeon pie. We have none that can talk. Only our parrots can talk, and they are not trained to carry messages.
Our pigeons can't talk either, my dear.
Then how do they carry messages?
Oh, Joan.
Now you are laughing at me.
Well, I'm sorry, honey. We shouldn't do that. You see, these pigeons can't talk. We write a message on a piece of thin, strong paper, then tie it to their leg with a fine wire band and turn them loose. They are taught to return to one place, or one kind of a place, and someone is waiting there to get the message.
Well, if we're going to do anything with them, we'd better get busy and send one off because if old G-47 finds us looking too happy, he'll know we've got some plan, and then he'll make kindling wood out of this yacht to find out what it is.
Nevertheless, we'll have to be patient for several hours, maybe a day or two.
Why can't we let the pigeon go now, right away?
We've got to wait till Johnson gets the other boat within the range these birds can cover. We're about 4,000 miles from Los Angeles, on this island, and the longest recorded flight over water was only a little over 1,000. And that's about the limit so far as I know.
Well, if Johnson started from here the same time he got my first message that we were in danger, before old G-47 got me with that ray gun and made me change the message, Johnson's boat ought to be 1,000 miles out of San Pedro by now.
How fast does this ship, the ship that Mr. Johnson is in, how fast will it travel?
Well, he'll be using our diesel-motored cruiser, and although it's nearly a 100-foot boat, it's built on hydroplane specifications, and Johnson runs it as if it had wings. So he ought to average from 50 to 55 knots for the run.
Golly whiskers. Who ever heard of a big boat going 55 knots an hour for 4,000 miles?
We have a number of things that the world in general never heard of, son. That boat will do all of that. But the worry is that heavily loaded with all my scientific equipment on board, it will burn a lot of fuel.
And how will the fuel be replenished, Captain?
From various ships Johnson will contact along the run. Ships flying Mrs. Gregory's merchant pennant, which will then put out from several ports to meet him.
Boy, you're sure some mysterious people, all right. But just so as it comes out okay, I guess I can wait for the answers till you get ready to give them to me.
You are an intelligent boy, Jerry.
I know it.
Now, you two keep still. We've got to figure just when to get that pigeon off to Johnson. There are many things to be planned and done before this flight can start. One thing, Tex. We must remember that magnetic fog and use string rather than wire on the leg band.
Tex, I know what to do. A thread from this cloth of theirs.
You do not have to worry about that all the time. And sometimes the fog is not magnetized.
Are you sure about that, Joan?
That would make it easier, wouldn't it, Tex?
That would make it almost simple.
But how can you tell that the fog is not magnetized all the time?
I have heard the scientists talking about it. They magnetize the fog only when danger is near, and they have instruments which warn them of a boat or airplane 100 miles away. G47 says the constant utilization of current in the magnetism of the fog ring is too heavy a drain on the electric supply, which is difficult to replenish quickly.
Well, that sounds reasonable. With all the machines they have running, all electrically driven, I imagine, they should conserve their power as much as possible. But how can you tell when the fog is magnetized and when it is not?
It is magnetized only when the danger signal shows.
Where is this danger signal gag?
There is a red light in the center of the island by night and a red signal by day.
Then if we make sure the red light is not displayed, we may safely send the pigeon.
I think it will be quite safe, Mother.
It looks as if we're getting somewhere at last.
But suppose G47 discovers these pigeons before we can use them.
I got it. It's dark now. I'll go out and get the pigeons and bring them in here. Then he can't see them through this cloth.
I will go with you, Jerry.
Now, hold it, you kids. We'd better not go near the pigeons till we want them.
But, Tex, what if someone on the island notices them before we want them?
Did you see the pigeons when you looked in that machine in their headquarters, Jerry?
Sure. I saw everything on the yacht. The pigeons were playing.
Yeah, I thought so. And we don't dare to move them. Chances are they haven't attracted any attention. And maybe they won't. But you can bet someone is watching this boat every minute. And if anything was moved and brought in here where they couldn't see it, they'd be down for a look-see in a second.
If G47 knows all about the things these pigeons can do, and he must know it, I cannot understand how he let you keep them at all. He would know they could fly out with messages.
That worries me, too. Do you suppose they're just waiting to trap us when we use the pigeons?
They're smart enough to be at that. G47 might figure I'd try to send a pigeon out with a formula.
Joan knows all these guys and how crazy they are. What do you think about it?
It is obvious that G47 knows about the pigeons, and he would know that they were what you called them.
Homing pigeons.
Yes, homing pigeons. But he is so scornful of nature and so secure in his own inventions that he might be careless about it.
That's possible, of course. Every man will make a mistake sometime, and this may be the one G47 will make.
Tex, how close has Johnson got to be to us before there's a good chance of these birds getting to his boat?
We'll let him get as close as possible, though these are well-trained birds, well cared for, and in the best of condition. They should make 500 miles straight as an arrow and right on schedule, providing weather conditions and other influences were favorable, of course.
How far away will these automatic alarms on the island detect a foreign object?
A large boat with motors can be located 200 miles away, an airplane 10,000 feet in the air, and even a rowboat or a swimmer 20 to 25 miles.
And these alarms are strictly automatic, operating and registering disturbances all the time?
At all times. And everything which comes within range of the alarms leaves a record on a recording device.
Gosh, this is sure a tough one.
If we get out of this one, we'll have something to tell the folks back home. And I think we'll get out sometime.
Well, how will we know when Johnson is near enough to turn loose one of the birds?
He'll keep on our radio beam, and we have a code that is simple but effective. So we'll be advised of his position at all times.
I hope these men don't get wise to the fact that receiving Johnson's apparently hopeless messages of value to us would be easy enough for them to block Johnson's carrier wave.
Captain Bradford, do not think me impertinent. You are a wise man, and I am only a young girl. But I would like to offer a little advice.
Your offer is gladly accepted. Advice is what we need most of.
I should figure, in your place, that G47 knows what every message you receive means to you. And the only reason he is letting you receive them is that he believes he can trap you into something which may give him access to your formula.
Oh, gee whiz, Joan. You're too scared of that old guy.
Joan has lived here all her life, Jerry. 14 of her 15 years. And she's seen many things done on this island that we couldn't even imagine.
Well, just the same, everybody's got to make a mistake. And it's old G47's turn now.
I think you may be right, Jerry, but we should be very careful.
Now, here's another place where you can be a lot of help to us, Joan. Suppose we do get a pigeon free, get one outside the fog wall, and start it north for Johnson's boat. What if they to run it down with or catch it?
The large ray guns would do it, but they are not too accurate at any great distance.
How much is a great distance to these guys?
Something less than 50 miles, I think.
That seems a long way to us, my dear.
Too far. But suppose the pigeon got away for, say, an hour and a half to 2 hours before they discovered it. Then what? These birds do 40 miles an hour.
The floor of the island would open up, and a fleet of tiny airplanes shoot out. They will fly over 500 miles an hour and stay in the air for 18 hours.
And they'd soon fly the birds down.
Our only hope is to get a pigeon out soon after dark and hope they don't discover it till daylight.
Are you sure the pigeon can find the other boat?
Yeah. Suppose he sees something else to land on. What then?
Those pigeons have been trained between these two boats and never failed. They've covered distances up to 500 miles, and I think they could do 1,000 if they had to.
And Johnson has a pair on his boat, which are trained to come to this boat. And only exhaustion would make them land on anything else.
That's right, and that's something else to worry about.
How come?
Well, if Johnson should send a pigeon before we do, the pigeon thing is exposed.
Yes, but
Quiet,
I...
here's Johnson.
J24Y. J12 calling Bradford on J24Y. Can you hear me, J24Y? No signal from you. Your beam may be broken by a storm. I am using land relay. Storm directly on Los Angeles beam to last position you gave me. Stand by for location of storm center. Try to reach me through land relay.
Quiet now. When he gives us a location of the storm center, that will be his own position. He's telling us in code how near his boat is to us.
Advise you try directional beam to coast of Chile. Ask them relay to me. Storm center. Can you hear me? Storm center is...
48 hours on the Magic Island. 48 hours in this strange scientific colony called Euclidia. The cabins of the Gregory yacht are now completely lined with the sound and light-proof cloth of the island. The Gregory party can talk in privacy, as the delicate recording instruments of the scientists cannot penetrate the opaque cloth of their own manufacture. G47, mad genius of the island, has allowed Mrs. Gregory, her daughter, and friends to remain aboard their yacht, tied to the island. Captain Bradford, Mrs. Gregory, Joan, and Jerry are grouped in the radio cabin of the yacht. It is midnight, their third midnight at the island.
Well, what do you think of your new suit, Jerry?
Oh, it's all right, I guess, but Mrs. Gregory isn't so hot as a tailor.
I'm sorry, Jerry, but it will do for our purpose.
You look quite nice in a suit of Euclidean kelp cloth, I think, Jerry.
There you are, Jerry. Joan likes it, so you're all right.
Oh, I don't care much how it looks, just so as it does the trick.
There isn't any other way to get the pigeon into the cabin here without someone on Euclidia noticing it.
Are you so sure, Captain Bradford, that this pigeon will fly to the other boat and find it?
I never knew one of these birds to fail yet.
I wish we'd hear from Johnson again. How close do you figure him to be now, Tex?
He's not more than 700 or 800 miles, and likely making about 40 knots now. He'll be slowing up as he gets nearer to try and discover what's wrong with us before he runs into needless danger himself.
He'd never dream the sort of place we're prisoners on. And with G47 blocking our radio beam, we haven't a thing but the homing pigeons to warn him with.
What message will you send with the pigeon, Captain?
I'll have to send instructions about my formula. It is the only thing to attack the island with.
But suppose the pigeon goes to the wrong boat or makes to land someplace. Then your formula will be in someone else's hands.
No matter who gets what I send, any country in the world would come to our aid here. Remember that our escape will probably mean the only chance there is of saving the entire world from scientific conquest by these madmen.
Joan, dear, what do you think their attitude would be if they should take over the world? Are they criminals or merely power mad?
I think they are mad for power. Selfish ambition to rule over and terrorize people. They speak of people in your world as dumb animals, only fit to do the bidding of the Euclideans.
Then I'm afraid the world would be just a gigantic laboratory for them to experiment with.
I think that, Mother. And I know they plan to put machines at work in place of human brains, to experiment on people as they do now on animals, and rule the world by science.
Nice people to meet on a dark night. Golly, but we've got a job ahead of us. If we can only get off this crazy island and destroy it, we can really save the world.
This is war, Jerry, and a war that means freedom for the civilized people of the world. We've got to win. Our lives mean very little at a time like this.
Our lives will mean plenty to the rest of the world if we can just keep alive long enough to get this message through to Johnson.
Ready for me to bring the pigeon in now?
Might as well, Jerry. Now look, try to act natural standing in front of the coat, and look all around carefully. When you are sure no one is looking, slip the pigeon inside your suit and come back in here.
Wait, Jerry. Be sure the warning light in the center of the island is not burning. That will mean the electrical eyes on the island are not working. The fog will not be magnetized, and only the long beam signals will be sweeping the ocean outside the fog ring.
You're a great help, my dear. You remember everything.
We on Euclidia are well trained in observation.
Okay, Jerry, go to it. Watch your step and go slowly and naturally, both going and coming back.
Right. I'll take my time.
Now, Joan, you know more about this island than we do. What do you think Jerry's chances are to get that pigeon and return here without being seen?
He will undoubtedly be seen, but there is a possibility that no one will notice him taking the pigeon from its usual place and slipping it under his coat.
And you're sure this cloth will keep the islanders from seeing he's carrying anything unusual under his coat?
If he is not stopped and searched because he's wearing the special cloth suit, no one will see through it.
Oh, Tex, we should have thought of that. Of course there'll be a guard on the yacht, and he'll stop Jerry and question him about that suit.
Got to chance it.
But G47 promised to outfit us completely in the cloth tomorrow. Then we could have done this without arousing any suspicion.
You are right, Mother. It would have been much wiser to wait until tomorrow night to try and get the pigeon from the stern of the yacht.
I know it would from a detection angle, but we can't afford waiting till tomorrow night.
Why not, Tex? Johnson will have the other boat much nearer then, and the pigeons would reach it easily and quickly.
Exactly, and Johnson would also be reached easily and quickly by the devices they have here on this mad island.
That is also true, Captain. Your other boat will be in danger of being reported on these delicate instruments of G47s when it is within 200 miles.
That was stupid of me, wasn't it, Tex?
No, this is enough to mix anyone up. We'll all think together.
Naturally, we must get word to Johnson while he's still out of range of their detectives. But, Joan, you said the Euclideans watched our yacht all the way from the coast of California to this island, 4,000 miles. How then is Johnson safe to within 200 miles?
They were watching for you to sail. When they use the universal prism reflectors with full power on a narrow focus, they have a range of 8,000 miles. But the object must be in daylight, and the apparatus is strictly directional.
Good. Then at night, and Johnson will be running down the same time zone we lie in, at night all they use is a general wide-range detector. And this is no good beyond 200 miles?
That is right, Captain.
Then the quicker we get the pigeon off to Johnson, the better. As our plans might go for nothing, even if the bird made the boat, but Johnson was caught.
Yes, Mother. G47 would send out a submarine or straight-a-plane and destroy him before daylight.
Have you the message all written out, Tex?
This tiny roll of paper contains all the information Johnson needs. That is, all he will need for the present. If this gets through, it's a matter of routine to finish the job.
This pigeon must get through, Tex. I feel that we'd never be given a second chance. It's now or never.
I got him all right, and not a soul was anywhere near the yacht.
But that yellow haze, how could you see through it?
They are not using the sub-ultraviolet fog tonight. It is too difficult to generate and uses up too much of the supply of gas. They only use it in time of danger.
Or when they want to impress someone with their tricks, as they did when we landed. All right, we'd better lose no time now. Handle the pigeon carefully, kid.
Right.
They're mighty sensitive about how they're handled.
Oh, what a nice little bird. It doesn't seem possible that it could fly as fast and as far as you say.
Homing pigeons are very wonderful, my dear, and they seldom fail.
Now hold him gently but firmly, Jerry, while I tie this roll of paper on his leg. I'm using Euclidean cloth thread, so there's no danger of any magnetic force holding this little fellow back.
How do I let him go?
Better just walk around the deck again. Take a turn all the way around. Then when you stroll slowly up near the stern on the starboard side, just open your coat and let it out. Then keep on walking. Take another turn of the boat if it seems natural, and don't hurry back in here.
Will that message not blow off in the wind?
Not the way Tex is tying it on. He's tied too many of them.
No, sir. This note will stay with the pigeon till Johnson takes it off.
Are you sure the pigeon can find the other boat in the dark?
They've been trained as much in night flying as in day.
They'll do it easily enough, but this one won't have to. It ought to be daylight when he reaches the boat.
But how will Mr. Johnson catch it without hurting it?
There's a coat on Johnson's boat to which this bird has been trained to fly. The door will be open, and the bird goes in. That's all there is to it.
I wish we knew exactly where Johnson was. It would be a shame to start the poor little cruiser off with its goal out of reach.
No danger of that if Johnson's last position was correct, and he keeps coming at 40 knots or better.
There he is, Jerry. Handle him gently. Do just as I told you. And if you should meet anyone, you're just going for a walk. Someone is likely patrolling the pier along the yacht rail.
Be careful, Jerry.
I will. Don't worry so much.
Better button up your coat. It's loose enough so it won't crush the bird. And let your arms swing naturally as you walk around the deck. Good luck, kid.
Well, here I go again. Now, don't worry about anything.
Oh, Tex.
Don't be nervous, Pat. It's out of our hands now.
Jerry will do it right, Mother. He's a very clever boy.
I know that, dear, but it's such a strain. We've been tied up to this ghastly island just over 48 hours now, and it seems like a lifetime.
No good to worry about it, Pat. You and Joan better go to your own cabin and get some rest as soon as Jerry gets the pigeon started.
How long will it be before we get an answer?
Well, that all depends on...
J24Y. J12C calling J24Y.
Hold it. There's Johnson now. At least they haven't stopped the incoming beams.
J12 to J24Y. Hello, J24. J12C reporting. No signal from you. Land stations report they cannot raise you. Taking chance of this getting through to you. Storm warning. Storm center near your last reported position. May be reason you cannot get signal to me. Serious storm is reported moving directly north of you. Storm moving south at terrific speed. Present storm center, 17 degrees south. If you are getting my signal, advise you run out of storm course. Land stations report all radio channels near you blocked by some terrific electrical disturbance. If you can hear me, run for it. Storm center, 17 degrees south. Confirm if you can hear me. That is all. Johnson on J12C.
Oh, Tex, he's coming fast, isn't he?
I'll say he is 17 degrees south, eh? And we're only 29.
Then he's just 12 degrees north of us.
I'm so excited I can't figure it out in my head. You got a pencil, Tex?
Yeah, and I'm using it for that same little thing.
I've got it figured, Mother.
You have?
You mentally converted degrees into miles that fast?
Of course, that is simple. Oh, I did not use the fractions, but there are approximately 69 statute or land miles to a degree at this latitude.
Joan, you know the conversion tables by memory?
You certainly got an education on this island. There isn't one person in 100 who could figure that in their head, even if they knew the conversion tables.
12 degrees at 69 miles to a degree is 828 miles.
Then if Johnson is making 40 knots an hour or more...
He's making plenty more. He said storm traveling south at terrific speed. And terrific speed with Johnson means all the boat will do. And the pigeon will make 40 going to meet him if the wind is favorable.
Then they should meet in less than 5 hours.
Right you are. Johnson will have that message at daylight.
But suppose G47 has figured out Johnson's code. What if he knows that every time Johnson reported the storm center, he was giving his own position?
He's sure to know it. For one thing, his own radio beam will tell him there is no storm. He knows Johnson's coming, and he wants him to keep on coming, so he can capture that boat also, as he probably knows most of our equipment is on it.
But if Johnson is captured, we can do nothing.
Don't worry, dear. That pigeon will get to Johnson's boat 300 or 400 miles from here, and Johnson will turn and run out of the danger the minute he reads the message.
Oh, boy. Everything's swell. Not a soul was on our side of the island, and the pigeon took off into the north side of the fog like a bullet after he'd fluttered around a minute and got his bearings.
Oh, Mother, the pigeon really got away.
I'll say he got away.
And it won't be long till we all get away.
Jerry Hall and his friends have now been more than 48 hours on the Magic Island. And in these weird and terrifying surroundings, it seems much longer than that. However, they have found Mrs. Gregory's long-lost daughter, Joan. And though they are all prisoners of the mad scientist G47, and the Gregory yacht is tied fast to one of the piers on the island of Euclidia, there is a spirit of hope on board, as Joan and her mother talk in Mrs. Gregory's cabin, while Jerry and Captain Tex Bradford are busy in another.
You should be in bed, Joan, dear. It's nearly 1 o'clock in the morning, and you must be tired after all this excitement.
No, Mother, I am not tired, even though Jerry said my eyes looked like 2 fried blankets.
Not exactly that. Jerry said your eyes looked like 2 fried holes in a blanket.
But that is even more impossible. It would be possible to fry a blanket, I think, if there were any reason for it. But to fry a hole, that is out of the question entirely.
You must learn to take all Jerry says with a grain of salt.
Take it with a grain of salt?
There now. I've done almost as badly as Jerry. You'll learn our strange way of speaking someday, my dear. We have a number of expressions that, while probably not correct English, make our meaning known and are in common usage.
I like everything you and your friends say and do, Mother. Captain Bradford is a fine man, and I like that foolish boy Jerry also. I would not like to see anything happen to him, but if he does not use more respect in speaking to G47, I dread to think what the result will be.
Jerry is young and hot-tempered, but he's really a very intelligent young man. And with Tex to steady him, I think Jerry is no more likely to get into trouble than the rest of us.
I am worried about that little bird Jerry sent off, the homing pigeon. Something will happen to it. Mother, it is not easy to send a message from this island.
You're too afraid of G47 and his group of scientists, Joan. After all, they're only human, and all humans make mistakes. I think the pigeon has a very good chance to get that message through to Johnson.
Even if the message does get through, what then?
Hi, Joan. Mrs. Gregory. Captain Bradford will be along in a minute.
I'm glad to see you in your own clothes again, Jerry. Yes, I think it was dangerous to have made that coat for you out of the opaque cloth. Someone might have seen you wearing it and thought you had the pigeon hidden under it.
The pigeon got away all right. That's the main thing.
But how can you be sure it got away safely, Jerry?
Well, the only place any of these scientists are is right on the island, inside that magnetic fog ring. Isn't that right?
That is probably so.
Then if the pigeon got through the fog ring all right, there would be no way for anyone on the island to detect it.
No. Are you sure there was nothing metallic on the pigeon?
Oh, no danger there. But I feel that Jerry must have been seen as he turned the pigeon loose. It doesn't seem right that he could walk boldly to the stern of the yacht, take a homing pigeon out of his coat, release it, stand there and watch it disappear through the fog without being observed by someone on the island.
It's too dark out there for anyone to see anything.
But how about the glasses with which they see through the yellow darkness? It may have been dark to you and light as day to those scientists on the island.
Jerry, is the yellow darkness being used tonight?
Nope, just plain old black dark out there. So dark you can't even see the sky.
Then G47 and his assistants can see no better than the rest of us. They have nothing with which to increase their clarity of vision through natural darkness. It is only regarding the convenient dissipation of such artificial obscurity as has been created for their express purposes that they have attained any marked degree of efficacy.
Swell. But what does it mean? Cut it up in little pieces so I can play too, will you?
Cut it up?
Now, Jerry, stop teasing Joan. You know perfectly well what she means.
Well, what if I do? She just thinks she's smart. Show off all those big words.
Is it that you do not understand the big words, Jerry?
Oh, I understand the big words, all right, but... Well, you're too stuck up.
Now, Jerry, Joan doesn't understand that, and I'm sure she didn't mean to be stuck up, as you put it.
Stuck up? I am afraid I do not follow you, Jerry.
You follow me, all right, but you'll never catch up with me.
Jerry, please don't be rude.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Gregory. I didn't mean to be rude, but... Well, I think she's trying to kid me.
No, she isn't. Joan is confused by all our slang, and she's quite right, Jerry. We do speak badly.
Yeah, I guess we do. I'm sorry, Joan. I didn't mean to make fun of you.
You are a nice boy, Jerry, and I know that if you say anything not nice, it is just because you do not know the correct manner of saying it. And I will gladly teach you how things should be done and said.
Oh, boy, this is sure something good.
Well, this seems to be a happy party.
I'm glad you're here, Tex. These two are almost beyond me.
Captain Bradford,
Yes, Joan?
did you see or hear anyone near the yacht?
Not a soul.
Then there may be a bare possibility.
Bare possibility of what?
Joan is worried, Tex, about the pigeon. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right, Mrs. Gregory.
Safe enough to talk now, with all this cloth all over the cabin. All over the yacht, in fact. We can talk in safety, and all's well.
I do not feel sure all is well. How long has the pigeon been gone?
It's just half an hour since I turned it loose.
It should be 15 or 20 miles from here by now.
Yes, there's a little wind from the south, right on his tail. He should be making 40 miles an hour.
But will the poor little bird get lost flying at night?
Oh, those little fellows are smart, all right. I got about all those books on homing pigeons read. Have you got any more, Mrs. Gregory?
We've got lots more books on pigeons back home in Los Angeles. You can read them when we get home, kid.
Captain Bradford, why is it you call Jerry the kid? I thought a kid was a young goat.
Now you're getting what I got, Tex.
You're right, Joan. I shouldn't use that expression. But if we're around you long enough, you'll have our English all straightened out for us.
And, Joan, there is one thing I must tell you. It's very rude for younger people to correct older ones.
Even if the older ones are wrong?
Give it up, Pat. We've got a lot to learn about each other, Joan, and it takes time. Now about the pigeon. Sure it got away, Jerry?
Oh, sure. It fluttered around a minute, acted kind of mixed up, then it got straightened out and took off through the fog due north. That is, if this pier runs north and south.
It does. This is Pier 5, and directly across the island is Pier 11. The two piers are exactly north and south. Will the pigeon fly to the boat your Johnson is on, or will he fly to Los Angeles?
Oh, he couldn't reach Los Angeles if he tried to. But he won't try.
I think that is wonderful. Do you train them to do that, or do they do it naturally?
They're very carefully trained, Joan. Anyone can train them who has a little patience and will take a few minutes a day with them. We have many pairs of them in Los Angeles, each pair trained to go to a different place or type of place.
You start them out just a little way at a time, don't you?
The pair we carry on this yacht, the one Jerry just released and the other still in the coat, were trained to go to the boat Johnson is now using. And they will go to that boat no matter where it is, though it seems easier for them if they make their long flights in the same general direction as their training flights.
Tell me about training them, will you please, Mother?
We started them when they were so young they really just flapped their wings and walked. It was hardly flying. The two boats were anchored side by side in the harbor, and we put a runway between them so the young birds wouldn't fall into the water and become frightened.
I read about how to do that. You put their food and water at the other end of the board, inside a little coat, and taught them to go over after it. Isn't that it?
Yes, Jerry. And each day we increased the distance they had to go and kept raising their coat up the mast until they could fly into it easily and naturally.
That is wonderful, Mother. I think more wonderful than any of the scientific discoveries on this island.
The more we learn about science, any of the sciences, the more we learn how wonderful nature is. Did you ever stop to think that no matter how much we may learn about the universe and the things that make it up, we are only learning the things nature has known all along?
Gee, I never thought of it that way. But you're right. Here these little homing pigeons take off from a strange place in the dark and fly straight for a boat hundreds of miles away.
How long will we have to wait?
That'll depend on how far Johnson is from us when the pigeon meets his boat, and also on whether we will be allowed to receive a radio message when Johnson sends us one.
Well, suppose Johnson tries to send one of his pigeons to us. I mean, before ours gets to him.
That might be dangerous, Tex.
I think not. The chances are G47 will discover this bird is missing at daylight, if he hasn't discovered it already. And by that time, the damage is done anyhow.
But Johnson would not know about the magnetic fog and all these things on Euclidia. Might he not use some metal to fasten the message to the pigeon?
He might, though we got some word of the magnetic fog to him in our first radio message. And Johnson is clever.
That fog wouldn't hurt the pigeon, would it?
No, but the metal on it would set off the alarm, and the pigeon would be held to the fog until rescued.
The danger of that is, as soon as the magnetism was released, the pigeon would be frightened and confused and either fall into the water or get lost trying to get back to Johnson.
Yes, and if Johnson's boat is too far away, these young birds might not make the return trip.
Is there nothing we can do about it?
Nothing, dear. For if we acted as if we were too interested in that magnetic fog ring, it would only attract suspicion to us. The longer that pigeon is gone before G47 knows, the better our chances are.
Right. And now there's only one sensible thing to do. Took it right out of my mouth. It's 2 bells. Time we all tried to sleep. Nothing more we can do tonight, and worry won't help the little pigeon a bit. Come on, Jerry.
Good night, Mrs. Gregory. Good night, Joan.
Good night, Jerry.
Skipper will be on deck till daylight. And Jerry and I'll take a turn now and then. Get some rest, Pat. Good night, Joan.
Good night, Tex.
Captain.
And now to bed, my dear. First time we've really been able to go to bed in 2 days and nights.
It all seems too wonderful to be true, Mother dear.
Come here, Joan. Kneel down by your mother, and we'll say our prayers together. Just as I've always dreamed we might say them someday.
I do not understand, Mother. What is it to say a prayer?
Oh, my dear little girl. With all your knowledge. I might have known it, of course. What would these mad Euclideans know of prayer?
Is it something I should know, Mother?
It's something no human being has ever lived happily without. I'll teach you the little prayer I said when I was a girl. A prayer I've waited 14 years to teach you. And you can say it after me, dear. 15 years old, and no one ever thought to teach you a little prayer.
Why do you cry, Mother?
What? Because I'm happy to know, dear, that with all your learning, there's at least one thing left for your mother to teach you. Now, repeat after me. Now I lay me down to sleep.
Now I lay me down to sleep.
I pray the Lord my soul to keep.
I pray the Lord my soul to keep.
If I should die before I wake,
If I should die before I wake,
I pray the Lord my soul to take.
I pray the Lord my soul to take.
When Jerry Hall managed to get a homing pigeon off through the magnetic fog ring surrounding the Magic Island, the hopes of the Gregory party ran high. Several hours have now passed. It is daylight. The pigeon should have reached the rescue boat with Johnson aboard, but no word has come from Johnson. The radio is silent. Mrs. Gregory and Joan are pacing the deck of the yacht, waiting for news, while Jerry and Captain Tex Bradford are looking around on the strange Isle of Euclidia.
Here it is after 8 o'clock, Joan. That pigeon has been gone for 8 hours. And if Johnson has the other boat in the position we expect him to be in... Oh, I forgot we're being overheard, of course.
No, Mother. When the fog ring is down and the air is clear as you see it today, it is almost impossible for the sound waves to be picked up this far from the control room. It is only when we are indoors or against some opaque surface that the danger of being overheard is great. And with the fog ring down, there is nothing for the sound waves to be refracted from.
Then G47 and his men must figure that they're very safe today.
I have never seen the island as unprotected as it appears to be now. And that is dangerous, Mother.
In what way, dear?
Nothing on Euclidia is ever what it appears to be. And the fact that it is apparently quiet and safe makes me very sure that some horrible danger threatens.
Well, what could happen, Joan? I feel we're all reasonably safe so long as G47 wants Captain Bradford's formula and doesn't get it.
That is true. But how long will it be before he does get it?
I think you're needlessly afraid of these scientists, Joan. Tex Bradford is one of the cleverest men I know, and it's entirely possible that he may outwit G47.
I hope you are right, Mother dear.
How good it is to hear you say that, Mother dear. For 14 long years I've looked the world over for you, and at last we're together. Everything seems so bright and cheerful today. The sea so green and sparkling, the air so clear. It's almost as if this island were all a horrible dream.
All that is because the alarms and prisms show there is no boat within 200 miles of us. But let one of those alarms ring, or a shadow cross the plate of one of the reflectors, and in less than 30 seconds the ring of magnetic fog will surround and cover the island, and it becomes just a prison, shut off from the world.
We'll find some way to get back to that world, dear, and then you'll love it just as we do.
One thing that worries me, Mother...
Yes, dear?
That little pigeon left there in his coat. Should we not hide it? G47 was taken away as soon as he discovers the other one has been used.
Tex and I thought of that, but decided it was safer to leave it there.
But, Mother... Mother?
Yes, of course, but he should be.
Mother, what are you talking about?
What? Oh, excuse me, dear. But the significance of something you said a moment ago just occurred to me.
Something I said?
Yes, you said the fog was not in use, and the watch relaxed on the island because the alarms registered no disturbance within 200 miles.
That is right, Mother. A boat of any size with motors running would set off the alarms at 200 miles.
Then that means that Johnson is not where we expected him to be. He should be within 200 miles. And if he's not, where is he?
Would that mean the little pigeon could not get to him?
It might, though twice the distance would be easy for the bird. But if Johnson's boat is running away or far off the course, it could give the pigeon serious trouble.
Then Captain Bradford's formula would be lost with the little pigeon.
The formula wouldn't matter if it didn't fall into someone else's hands, as Tex could always write that out from memory. But I would hate to lose the little Homer. We've used them all over the world and never lost one.
Mother, this Tex you call Captain Bradford, his name is Charles Bradford, is it not?
Yes, dear. Tex is only a nickname. Most of the captain's old friends call him that. I think he learned to fly in Texas during the war.
And your name is Patricia. Yet Captain Bradford calls you Pat. Is that also a nickname?
Yes, dear. Pat is short for Patricia.
Well, then I want a nickname also. The captain is Tex, you are Pat, Gerald is Jerry, and I want to be... It is not so easy to make a nickname for Joan, is it?
I want to hear your name, Joan. It's both short and pretty, and I like it.
It is a nice name, Joan Gregory. And you gave my name to this beautiful boat. You're a wonderful mother.
Hey, Mrs. Gregory, Joan, where are you?
Back here at the stern rail, Jerry.
Okay, coming up.
That Jerry is such a noisy boy, Mother. But I like him. He always wants to laugh and make fun of things.
Jerry's a fine, happy lad, and Tex and I are glad we brought him.
Oh, boy, have I got some news. Captain Bradford sent me over here to tell you folks about it. He'll be along in a minute.
What is it, Jerry?
You have a happy sound in your voice, Jerry. It must be that you have good news.
Has Tex found out something to our advantage?
He sure has. But we'd better get in the cabin, Mrs. Gregory.
It is perfectly safe to talk here, Jerry, when the fog ring is down.
That's what you think. But when I was over in the sound chamber with Tex, we heard you and Mrs. Gregory talking about the pigeon.
Oh, then we said too much.
Oh, you didn't say anything G47 didn't know already. He saw there was only one pigeon at daylight, and of course he tumbled quick that the other one had been sent away. He just laughed at us.
Then what could you have to tell that would be good news?
Well, come inside the cabin where we'll be safe for the opaque cloth.
All right.
Then I'll tell you about it as much as I can till Tex gets here.
Now, what is it, Jerry?
Well, old G47 let Tex and I look through the universal prison reflectors. They were trying to locate Johnson's boat. They got wise about the boat as soon as they noticed the pigeon was gone, I guess.
And could you see the boat, Jerry?
Yeah, that's why old G47 is up a tree.
G47 is up a tree?
Oh,
Where is the tree, Jerry?
forget it. I mean, it's got G47's goat.
Got his goat? But G47 has no goat.
Never mind, my dear. Just let Jerry tell his story.
Gee, thanks, Mrs. Gregory. I can't teach English and tell a story at the same time. Now, look, G47 is worried because a boat got inside the 200-mile alarm limit without setting off the alarm. And it's Johnson's boat, too, I guess. But Tex wouldn't say a word in front of those scientists over there. Just look wise.
Well, that doesn't sound just right, though, Jerry. Johnson would have been tearing along with his motors wide open, and that alarm would surely have picked it up.
Can't that boat be used as a sailboat?
Why, of course, it's equipped with sail as an emergency measure, but I still...
But nothing. Johnson's got the sails up. The motors ain't working, and he's sneaking within 200 miles of here.
That is remarkable, Jerry. Could you see the boat plainly in the reflectors?
Yeah, we could see it all right. But that's where the big laugh comes in, and old G47 is stuck.
I can't see why you feel so cheerful about it, Jerry. Joan has told us that their aeroplanes will do 500 miles an hour.
Yes, Jerry. And if Johnson's boat has been located within 200 miles of here, it will be an easy matter for G47's men to go out and destroy it and be back here in less than an hour.
Well, I guess it would be if G47 wanted to destroy it.
Jerry, what do you mean?
Well, what I mean is... Oh, here's Tex now. He can tell you better than I can.
Well, Jerry, I see you've started on the news.
Well, he hasn't told us enough to do us any good, Tex.
Is your Mr. Johnson's boat really within the 200-mile limit, Captain?
Yes, and our scientific friends don't seem to know just what to do about it.
But, Tex, they'll attack Johnson, won't they?
I think not. I dropped a hint or two as to what would happen if they did.
But, Captain, it would be very easy for these Euclideans to destroy one boat without danger to themselves.
Sure, but that's the catch in it, Joan. They don't want to destroy it.
G47 figures that Johnson has come to rescue us, and that he will have all our valuable equipment on board, including the materials necessary to compound my formula. And naturally, he wants those materials.
Then why doesn't he just capture the boat and take what he wants? Though he wouldn't find it on board, would he?
No, but as I started to tell you, I dropped a small hint that spoiled all their plans, and will hold them steady for a while, I think. G47 admitted he knew about the pigeon, so I admitted that the message on the pigeon contained orders to Johnson to abandon and destroy the ship if attacked.
Did you really send such orders?
No, but G47 won't harm that boat as long as he thinks anything of value is on it.
Wonderful, Tex. Now we have time to get the truth to Johnson.
I do not like it at all.
Why? What's the matter with it?
G47 would not give up so easily. Something is wrong.
What could he do about it?
Many things. And I'm afraid you will hear more from G47 about this.
Oh, you're always so gloomy.
Joan has lived 14 years on this island, Jerry. She knows more about the power here than we do.
Even so, I don't see where anything could be wrong with this unless... Uh-huh. That could be it.
What, Tex?
June, could those reflectors they let me look in be tampered with? I mean, so that they could distort the image from me and see it clearly themselves? See something they did not let me see?
I am not sure, but I know that unless you understand the readings of all the instruments and graphs on them, it would be easy to confuse you as to what you were looking at.
Gee, Tex, you don't think there's any mistake about that? You'd know Johnson's boat, wouldn't you? I mean, as plain as we could see it there.
Well, I ought to, kid, but Joan has set me wondering.
You think it's possible they showed you a false image or the image of another boat just to get you to say or do something that might help them to locate and run down Johnson's boat easier?
How about that, Joan? Could that be done?
It could be done easily. I remember when that poor old sailor was here on the island. The Euclideans would often let him look in the reflectors and show him a battleship approaching, telling him it was coming to take him home. And then they'd laugh at him and show him it was merely a reflection of a ship model being built in one of the construction chambers right here on the island.
Oh, this is certainly a mad setup.
Joan's all worried because G47 isn't worried enough about the pigeon. What do you think, Captain?
Yeah, that worries me, too. And now that Joan has shown me that my visit to the reflectors might have been just a game at my expense, I don't know.
And then, too, you must remember that the alarm did not ring. And if your boat was within 200 miles, it should have rung.
And if the boat is not within 200 miles, that's equally as bad. Because Johnson couldn't possibly know enough of what we're up against here to keep outside the 200-mile limit.
That one code message we got through to him on the radio, that might have tipped him off to staying away.
Yeah, but if he turned off too soon and ran away too fast and too far, pigeon didn't get to him. So there we are, right back where we started. Come in.
G47.
Oh, gee whiskers.
The pigeon. He's got the pigeon, Tex.
Yes, I see.
If you have finished your stupid soliloquies, one of you might want to take this pigeon and return it to the coat.
Then the pigeon didn't get through the fog? But why? It has nothing metallic on it.
A ring of gas within the fog. The bird fell to the island.
Then you've had that pigeon since midnight last night?
And all that show of worry over the boat and the reflectors was for my benefit, eh?
Tex, your formula's gone from the bird's leg.
Oh, Captain Bradford, G47 has your formula.
Precisely. My assistants are working to compound it in the laboratory now. When they succeed, the lives of you three will be of no further use to the world.
Again, G47 has shown his power on Euclidia, the magic island of the South Seas. When Jerry Hall started off the homing pigeon to Johnson on the rescue boat, things looked very bright. The pigeon was released at midnight, and at 8 in the morning, the Gregory party were sure that all was well, and that the pigeon had reached the other boat. As they were discussing their chances of escape in the soundproof cabin on the yacht, the mad scientist, G47, walked in with the pigeon in his hand. G47 has just left the cabin after telling them that the pigeon was stopped by gas in the ring of fog surrounding the island.
Well, I guess that's the end of it.
Oh, Mother, is there no hope at all?
Very little, my dear. You heard what G47 said. His assistants are working now on the formula they took from the leg of that pigeon. And when they've successfully compounded it, our lives will be worth nothing.
Golly whiskers, Tex. Tex? Hey, Tex, what are you thinking about?
How to get this pigeon or the other one through that ring of fog and gas that guards the island.
But can you do it in time to be of any help, Captain? G47 and his men will be working rapidly on that formula. And when they complete it, I think it will be too late to help us then.
Oh, Tex, isn't there something we can do?
I'm afraid not. There's no chance for these birds to fly through that gas ring. They'll never fail to use a gas ring as long as they have a chance of trying anything else.
Wait a minute, Tex. You act like you're not paying any attention to us at all. Quit worrying about getting the message through to Johnson. He can't get here in time to save us anyhow.
Jerry's right, Tex. What we've got to do is try some extreme measure. Something wild and foolish if there's nothing sensible and reasonable left to do. But we've got to do something about getting off this island before those Euclideans get that formula compounded.
No hurry about that, Pat. It will take them a long time to figure it out.
Do not be too sure, Captain Bradford. G47 and those other men can do as they wish with any formula that any living man could write for them.
Hurry up, Tex. Let's try to get off this crazy island.
Take a look outside the door, Jerry. I'm going to tell you something.
It's all right to talk in here now, Tex. No one can hear us with the cabin insulated with this opaque cloth.
Probably not, but take a look anyway, kid.
Okay, Tex. All clear out there. The skipper's at one end of the passage and the engineer at the other.
All right. I'll just let the pigeon rest here on the bunk.
That beautiful little bird is so frightened. If it's hurt, we should...
Not a bit. Just some harmless gas that caused him to flutter slowly to the floor of the island. He'll be all right after he gets over his fright.
I read in your pigeon book that it upsets them when something stops them from a flight they've started out on.
Sometimes it does, but this little fellow has had accidents before. He'll be all right soon. I'll hold him here, Tex. There now, Bosun. Feel better now? Now, Tex, the pigeon seems comfortable. Go ahead.
I suppose I should have told you before. I thought I'd save you a lot of worry if I did the worrying for all of us. I didn't want you to realize just how much I feared old G47 and how little faith I had in that pigeon getting through the fog ring.
Well, we know the worst now, Tex.
I was afraid, Captain, that your plan was too simple to succeed against the protection on this island.
Oh, you did swell, Tex. Nobody's going to blame you when old G47 works out that formula and comes to do whatever he's going to do with us.
That's what I'm trying to tell you, kid. I've had my mind on the pigeon and can't seem to stay on the subject. But you can quit worrying about the formula. The old G47 may be mad enough to kill us anyway when he discovers that he hasn't got it.
What do you mean, Tex? Did you put the formula in code?
These Euclideans can decipher any code nearly as fast as it can be read by one who understands it. They have a conversion table of all the possible combinations of figures, letters, and characters known to man. And they work out a code as accurately as you would use a slide rule.
Then when they read the code, we're sunk for sure.
But it wasn't code. What I had on that message to Johnson simply was not my formula.
Then they haven't the formula at all?
They must have some formula, or they wouldn't be working on it all this time.
They have a formula, all right. And no matter how clever they are, they're going to have some fun with it before they give up trying to compound my secret with it.
You gave them a formula which will make nothing, then?
No, I gave them a formula which I worked on for years. And I've worked with some of the greatest chemists in the world on it. The formula for making synthetic diamonds.
Giggle and goldfish. Then if they work it out, they'll have a diamond.
Something like one, Jerry, though the formula was never quite perfect, was it, Tex?
No. It works up to a certain point where a hard mass is precipitated. But before you can rescue this solid from the solution, it is promptly dissolved again.
That's a honey, Tex. It may fool them, too. For when they get this hard substance, and then it dissolves, they'll think they got the real thing, the universal solvent.
Hush, Jerry, not so loud.
So that is your secret, Captain Bradford. The universal solvent. I've often heard G47 say you had the greatest formula in the world, and one that chemists have tried to get since chemistry began. Now I can understand why they wanted to bring you to this island.
Yes, Joan, dear. I was allowed to come here and find you so those scientists could get Captain Bradford in their power. Now all our lives will pay for it.
Hey there, Mrs. Gregory. Cut it out. We're not done yet by a long ways. Don't forget what G47 said. As long as they're trying to get Tex's formula, we're safe.
Right, and before they get it, we may figure our way out.
Do you mind if I ask you a question about your formula, Captain Bradford?
Go right ahead, Joan, only don't talk too loud.
You have really found the formula for the universal solvent?
Yes.
You've actually used it to dissolve every element and combination of elements known to science?
Yes, Joan, I really have it.
What do you use as a container to keep it in?
I thought that was coming, Tex. Joan's got her head fastened on tight, all right.
Is your head loose, Jerry?
Now, don't you two start that again. Jerry is really paying you a very high compliment, Joan. He thinks it's clever of you to ask such a question.
To ask that is only natural, I think. For if you have something which will dissolve everything, how could you keep any of it? It would eat its way through any container.
You may think it's natural to ask that, Joan, with the training you've had here. But most people pass it up. Anyhow, I have the formula, and it will eat its way out of anything you put it in. And that very fact is a thing I think will save our lives and get us off this island.
But how?
No more now, Jerry. I hope we haven't talked too much about it as it is.
Here's where we get it for the trick we played on them.
G47 will be very angry.
Can't help it now. Come in.
Oh, Skipper. What is it?
Pigeon,
Something happened to the other pigeon?
What's up, Skipper? Someone at the pigeon cote? Someone been there and done something to the pigeon?
Oh, Ted.
Steady, Pat. You three stay here. I'll take this other pigeon and go and see. Shove off, Skipper.
Now, what's up, I wonder?
Oh, I hope they haven't harmed the other one. I wouldn't mind their taking it away from us to keep us from using it, but I'd feel very badly if anything happened to them.
You are so sweet and kind, Mother. I think those are the words I want to use, but we know so little of those qualities on Euclidia that I do not even know how to speak of them.
You're doing all right, Joan. For a girl that didn't know anything when I landed here, you're getting so you talk pretty near as good as I do.
You mean I speak nearly as well as you, Jerry?
Oh, what's the use?
I'm afraid, Jerry, that Joan is rapidly learning our careless manner of address, and she's really right.
I want to speak as you do, Mother, and I want to go to your world and learn all about it.
Our chances of that aren't boiling over right now.
Oh, now, Jerry, you must not get in that frame of mind. You must keep happy and foolish to help the rest of us.
Yes, Jerry. Tex is inclined to look on the dark side of things, Mostly to keep us from getting our hopes too high, I think. And we've learned to look to you for the bright side, so don't let us down.
Well, I'm sorry. Only things happen too fast here for me sometimes. Now this pigeon thing. We had our hopes all worked up on getting a message to Johnson, and the pigeon comes back.
But they didn't get Captain Bradford's formula, Jerry, and that is something.
Yes, something. But what will G47 do because he was tricked?
He won't do anything till he gets Tex's real formula.
Jerry may be right, Mother. G47 and his assistants have a patience that is terrible. Their plans and formulas have been complete, their equipment ready for world conquest, and their supplies on hand for many months. Yet they have waited patiently for this chance to get Captain Bradford here with his formula.
But why did they have to make such an involved process of it? A simple message that you had been found living here would have brought us at any time.
I don't know about that, Mrs. Gregory. Remember how many times you have been fooled about Joan being found someplace, and how you even wondered about coming here.
I know the Euclideans wanted to be sure you left your home without any suspicion of what you would find, as they feared Captain Bradford might leave instructions behind him as to what to do if you did not return as you had planned. If these men fear anyone or anything in the world, it is Captain Bradford.
Gee, it's great to be that important.
But you, Jerry, you are also important.
Me? How come?
You have some very powerful radio apparatus in your home in Hollywood, you and your father. Is that not so?
Jerry, they must have heard you sending with your 1 1/2 meter set.
Oh, I don't think it would pick up here. It's just a homemade affair.
Oh, it was heard here, and it was heard to answer the call which brought you down here.
Jiminy Jimcracks. Do you mean that when I heard that report about the old sailor and tried to get more information about it, that they really heard my QRF here?
Yes, Jerry. They heard you very plainly when you repeated the message G47 sent. And you said you would try to locate Mrs. Gregory, Mother, and get the message to her.
Now, Jerry, how does that feel? See how important you are?
Well, it's no surprise to me. I always had an idea I'd turn out to be a pretty important guy.
And you take it all so modestly, Jerry.
Oh, gee.
And your face is so red, Jerry. You look so funny.
Joan, dear. Joan, you laughed. That's the first time I ever heard you laugh.
We do not laugh on Euclidia. I never felt like that before. It's a nice feeling to laugh. Jerry, you must make me laugh some more. Will you please look foolish again so that I may laugh?
Oh, sure. Oh, no, I won't.
Well, I can't figure that one out. Here's the other pigeon, not hurt a bit. Skipper said one of G47's men came and took it out of the coat. Handled it very carefully and put it back.
What could that be for, Tex?
I don't know.
Oh, they just did something to it so it can't carry messages for us.
May I see the pigeon, Captain Bradford?
Certainly, Joan. Here you are.
Such a soft and warm little thing. He's rather nervous, I think. Let me see. Yes. So that is it. This pigeon could not leave the island now, Captain, through the fog ring.
Have they done something to it so the gas will affect it?
Wait a minute. Let me feel that pigeon. Yep. Remember when we got off the yacht the first time and we tried to walk? That magnetism held us still, even our hands.
What do you see, Jerry?
He feels it, Captain Bradford. Before you had time to leave the yacht when you first landed, a magnetic paint had been put on the rail and deck of the yacht in the yellow darkness, so that you could not move when the current was turned on.
Then that is what's been done to this pigeon? I can't see it.
The paint is colorless and odorless, but it lasts for many hours, and this pigeon is now covered with it and could never get outside the magnetic circle. We have lost our only hope, Captain Bradford.
When Jerry released a homing pigeon with a message to Johnson on the rescue boat, it was stopped by gas in the fog ring surrounding the island. G47 is now working on the formula taken from the message. The formula he believes to be Captain Tex Bradford's universal solvent. The other pigeon has been covered with magnetic paint to make it impossible for him to fly through the fog around the island. It is daylight, and as there is no chance of planning anything further toward their escape or rescue until dark, Mrs. Gregory and Captain Bradford are working in the chart room of the yacht, while Joan takes Jerry on a tour of the Magic Island.
Now, Jerry, you must do just as I tell you and do not touch anything without permission.
This is going to be some sightseeing tour. Like letting 2 of the prisoners in jail go around and look at the other prisoners.
You're supposed to be a clever boy, Jerry.
Supposed to be? I am clever.
Then if you are, you should appreciate the opportunity of going through some of the laboratories and control chambers on the island, and perhaps observing something which will facilitate our ultimate plan of escape.
Hey, look, why don't you learn to talk English? All those big words are just a waste of time, and well, besides, I'm too busy for that.
You would find the larger words more expressive, Jerry, if you would only learn to employ them more frequently.
Okay, well, where do we start looking at all this stuff? We've been all over this island now, and I haven't seen anything but these little steel houses on top.
We are nearly to the general elevator shaft entrance. I will take you down into the subterranean observation chambers.
Well, take me where something makes a little noise, will you? This walking around on concrete that sounds like carpet is getting on my nerves.
There are not many places on the island where you will hear noise, Jerry. It is made silent deliberately and has proven the best method of protection yet discovered.
I don't see how.
Anything foreign to the island and its people, any boat, device, or method of communication which has any sound, is recorded instantly. While if there were local noises, it would be difficult to distinguish sounds emanating from an outside influence.
Never mind. I'll figure out the next one myself.
Here we are, Jerry.
Here we are where?
At the elevator entrance.
Well, maybe you're right. But I can't see anything except this little platform of steel on the floor of the island.
That is the elevator.
Gee whiz.
Cleostra at the main elevator shaft. Cleostra at the main elevator shaft.
Hey, what is this? Your name's Joan now. Cut out that Cleostra stuff.
I am called Cleostra here on Euclidia, and it is the only name they will ever recognize.
Oh, all right. But what was that hocus pocus you started to recite?
When I identified myself, my voice was recorded in the main control chamber in the center of the island. One of the guards looked out to see if it was really I, saw you with me, communicated with G47, secured his permission to allow you to enter, and started the machinery which is raising the top of the elevator shaft.
Oh, there wasn't time enough for all that to happen.
When you have been longer on Euclidia, you will learn the reason the Euclideans speak of time in seconds. Minutes are too long for the speed and accuracy of things on this island.
Everything on this island is nutty. Boy, look at that thing come up out of the island. It's pretty near as tall as we are now.
It will soon be ready to enter.
But say, when I ran after those fellows who went down inside the island when they thought someone was escaping, that was a regular building. It stuck up out of the island all the time. We didn't have to wait for it to grow like this thing is doing.
That was the elevator in the control chamber. Only the trusted members of the scientist group are allowed to use that.
Then why didn't they stop me when I tagged along with them?
Doubtless they thought you would foolishly say something or do something that would be of use to them. Remember, these men want very badly something that Captain Bradford, and only Captain Bradford, has.
Shh, keep quiet. If they heard you asking for this elevator, they can hear all we can say now.
Certainly they can, but we will talk about nothing that is not already known. Now the chamber has stopped rising. We may enter.
Okay, but that wall looks kind of solid to me.
It is opening now.
How's that thing run? Compressed air?
No, Jerry. All elevators on the island are run and controlled by electromagnets.
Gee, a magnet strong enough to lift that elevator?
Were not the magnets strong enough to pull my mother's large yacht to the island?
That's right. Boy, what a place.
Now we will enter.
Hooray! Something makes noise. Boy, I'm going to stay in this elevator just so I can hear the noise of our feet.
Oh, stop that, Jerry. The Euclideans will not like it. The vibrations will be so heavy they will overload the delicate recording instrument.
Well, anyhow, I found a place I can come to for a little noise when the quiet on the rest of this island drives me crazy.
Now we will descend. To what floor would you like to go?
Make it easy on yourself, kid.
Jerry, I do not know what you mean.
I'm sorry. What I meant to say was, it will be my pleasure to leave the choice of points of interest on this tour completely in your hands.
Why, Jerry, you can speak properly when you want to.
Oh, I can do a lot of things that I don't show off about all the time. Well, let's get going.
I think you would enjoy seeing the submarine locks. We will go down to the 5th level, 50 feet below the ceiling of the island. You may press the indicator button there, the numeral 5.
Okay, it's pushed. Boy, this is slick. The door is closing all by itself.
Nearly everything on the island is automatic.
Now we're starting down. This sure runs nice and smooth. What happened? We've stopped.
Only for a moment. That is a check on the 10-foot level.
And that happens on every floor, every level?
On this elevator, yes. Some of the private elevators of the scientists and the escape elevators will drop rapidly and continuously. But this one is...
That's the second level, huh?
Yes. Now it will release again. You see? This elevator is made so it may only be run one floor at a time, as it is in general use by everyone on the island and can easily be stopped at each floor from the control chambers in the event of escape.
There it is again, the third level now. But I don't see how all this is done by magnets. Of course, I can feel them take hold and then let go of the car, like that one just then let go. But how do they pull it up and control it all by magnets?
They employ both types of electromagnets. The tractive is used to move the car through the shaft, and the portative to hold and release it at the various levels.
You sure learned a lot from these guys. Now we're at the fourth level. The next one will be ours, huh?
Yes, the car will automatically stop and the door open at the fifth level.
I wish Captain Bradford and your mother could see all this.
Oh, they will. I wanted them to come with us today, but Mother and the captain had something to work on in the chart room of the yacht, and I think they wanted to be alone while working it out.
Gee, we're at the fifth level now. And this is 50 feet below the top of the water? 50 feet below sea level?
Hardly that, Jerry. At high tide, the surface of the island is well above the water level. Remember that you stepped from the deck of the yacht directly onto the island pier.
Oh, sure, that's right. But we're 50 feet below the top of the island, and maybe 40 feet below water level?
That is right, Jerry. Now, when this door opens, I will take you on an inspection tour of the island submarine locks. This is the level at which they are anchored.
And you can get into the subs down here in more than 6 fathoms of water?
Naturally. G47 has always said it was very stupid to call a boat a submarine when it had to be loaded on the surface. These boats have never been on the surface.
Oh, where do they build them then?
On this level. You will see one under construction when we... Well, that is strange. The door should be opening now.
Well, maybe we're supposed to push something to make it open.
No, it will open automatically or not at all. I've never seen it take this long.
Something's wrong with it then. What'll happen if I try to open it?
Nothing. You will simply not be able to open it.
Well, I'm going to try anyhow. No, nothing doing. Well, this is your party. Where do we go from here?
It must be that something secret is being done on this level and the door checks are set. Push the indicators for one of the other levels. We will go there for the time.
Okay. I'll try number 6. There we are.
On the 6th level, you will see the... Jerry, something is very wrong here. The car does not move.
By Ginger, you're right. We're stuck. I guess their electricity has failed them.
Jerry, that thumping noise. This car is going to be held here.
What do you mean? What's that noise?
Those are the permanent magnets being set into place to hold this car. You can hear them taking hold.
What does that mean, Joan?
I'm afraid, Jerry. It may mean something terrible. There's an emergency of some kind. All the electrical energy is needed someplace on the island. That is why they're placing the permanent magnets to hold this car, so the electromagnets will not drain the current supply.
Well, what can we do? What can happen to us here?
I am not sure, though I think we are in no danger. But what is happening?
Well, whatever it is, I don't like it. I'm going to try pushing some of these buttons for the other levels.
Well, that will do no good, Jerry. I'm sure the current has been taken from the electromagnets. Yes. And it is being taken from the lighting system.
Golly whiskers. The light's going out. It's gone.
Oh, Jerry. What will happen now?
Now, don't act like a girl. We've got to... Hey, what's that noise?
Water. Water rushing around the elevator shaft. The submarine lock must have broken. Oh, Jerry. In this awful dark, with the water rushing around us, what will happen?
If this car is airtight, we'll be all right. I guess. There's that alarm gong again. What's that mean?
That is the submarine level emergency signal. Jerry, the lock must have broken. The ocean is flooding into this level. Oh, Jerry! Jerry!
Gee whiz, Joan. You act just like any other girl when something's gone wrong. You ought to know all about these things. Can't you do something to get us out of here?
No. The electricity is turned off. The car can't be moved. And if we could open the door, we would be drowned.
But somebody will come and get us out. They know we're in here.
Well, that would make no difference to the Euclideans. Their island comes first with them. And we will be looked for only after the damage is repaired and the instruments checked.
But gee, we can't stay in here. This thing's airtight. I know it must be, and we'll run out of air to breathe pretty soon.
Yes, the air will be shut off. Oh, Jerry, I'm afraid. Listen. Listen to the water. The elevator shaft is shaking with it.
Yeah. It's getting kind of hard to breathe in here.
Oh, Jerry. Listen.
While waiting for darkness to cover the magic island of Euclidia, Jerry and Joan have gone on a tour of the island, leaving Captain Bradford and Mrs. Gregory on the captive yacht. Mrs. Gregory's daughter, Joan, who has spent nearly all of her 15 years on the island, has undertaken to show Jerry the submarine locks on the 5th level below the surface of the artificial island. They descend to the proper level in the magnetic elevator, but the door fails to open. Jerry and Joan are now badly frightened as they hear the rushing of water outside the elevator shaft. They've been there for some time, and the air in the elevator car is getting very bad.
Jerry, I can hardly breathe. What are we going to do?
Must be some way to get air into this thing. These Euclideans are too smart not to figure on accidents in these elevators.
You're right, Jerry. There's an oxygen tank, small valve, in the ceiling. I forgot.
Just like a girl. Where is it?
Feel around on the ceiling. Up there in the dark.
Yeah. No. Can't reach it. Not tall enough.
Then we're going to suffocate. Jerry, I can hardly breathe.
Wait a minute. I'll stand in the corner. Oh, the corner here. It's round. Maybe I can brace myself. Yeah. Now, I'll make a cradle of my hands. Feel around me, can't you?
Yes, Jerry. I will. There, I feel your face.
Well, you can't stand on my face. Run your hands down my arms. Feel how I've got my hands fixed?
Yes, Jerry.
Then put your foot in my hands. Get your hands behind my head.
Yes.
Lift yourself up. Then take one hand loose. Feel around on the ceiling. If you grab a valve, turn it on.
I will try. Oh, there now. Hold me, Jerry.
Quit pulling my hair. I'll hold you.
Oh,
Hurry up. My chest hurts.
I think I have it, Jerry.
Then turn it on.
Oh, Jerry. I can feel it. The oxygen. Oh, it feels so good. It almost hurts.
Then get down. You must be breathing it all in up there. Jump down.
Yes, Jerry.
Oh, boy. That's good stuff. Whee. I'm going to carry a tank of that stuff with me after this. Whenever we go out sightseeing on this crazy island.
I've never known anything just like this to happen. One of the submarine locks must have broken and let the ocean flood in.
Plenty of pressure at 6 fathoms, too. Can they pump it out?
Oh, yes. The chambers are all made so they may be flooded deliberately, then pumped out.
What's that for?
In case of escape, the local prism reflectors in the control chambers will locate the escapers. Then the switches are thrown to close the automatic doors around the section they're trying to escape through. And the water turned on.
Golly whiskers. These guys are plenty mean, aren't they?
Yes, Jerry. No one can imagine the awful things on Euclidia.
Well, when we get rescued, Captain Bradford and your mother will know how to use all these slick inventions to do a lot of good back in our world.
Listen. The water has nearly stopped running around this elevator shaft.
I can't hear anything but a buzzing in my ears. Feels kind of funny and dizzy.
Oh, I forgot. The oxygen. We must turn it off again, Jerry. Too much is not good for her.
Okay. Get up on my hands again.
Yes, Jerry, I will.
Hey, you stuck your finger in my
Oh,
eye.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so am I. I'll be glad when the lights come on in this thing. Now, up you go. Can you reach it?
Yes, I can feel it.
And shut it off.
That is done. My head feels queer, too.
Boy, you sure hit the floor hard. Hurt you?
No, but I'm... Listen.
Yeah, you can hear the pumps working. Sound like they're working mostly on air. The water must be all gone.
Then we shall soon be out of here.
Oh, boy. Here comes the light.
Yes, we can see now. Oh, this is much nicer.
I'll say it is. They sure built these elevators right anyway. Not a drop of water got in. Can we start this thing?
Not yet. When you hear the permanent magnets, release the car, and the portative magnets take hold, then we may safely actuate the control button.
Yeah, you're feeling better, all right. I can tell by the big words. When you were scared in the dark, you talked pretty near human. But now that everything's okay, you gotta spout large language.
Now, Jerry, do not make fun of me. I was so...
Hey, Joan. Jiminy Crickets, Joan. Cut that out.
I cannot help it. I have never cried before. It feels so good.
Oh. Well, if that ain't just like a girl, it feels so good to cry. I'll bet you have a swell time at funerals. Oh, turn off the water. Golly whiskers, here. Take my handkerchief and wipe your eyes. And for the love of Pete, quit bawling.
Thank you, Jerry.
Yes, water outside the elevator, water inside the elevator. You women are all alike. You're mighty smart and brave till things get rough. Then we men have to step in and help you.
You're wonderful, Jerry.
I know it.
There go the magnets, Jerry.
I can hear them.
We'll soon be able to start the car.
Won't be any too soon for me.
There now. The pumps have stopped.
And the magnets have stopped clicking. Can we go now?
Yes. The door should open automatically, just as it would have when the car reached this level if the water had not flooded the chamber outside.
Well, if it ain't opening very fast, what can we do to hurry it?
Nothing. If it does not open automatically, someone is keeping it closed. That can be done from the control chambers.
Oh, what would they want to do that for?
Some important experiment must have failed, and G47 does not want anyone to see what happened.
G47's afraid to let anybody know he can make a mistake, huh?
I think that is it. We of Euclidia are allowed to see only perfect things. The scientists would have us think they never make a mistake.
Well, if we can't land here, let's go up to one of the other levels and look around there. Nothing's ever going to scare me after drowning like we did.
Oh, we did not drown, Jerry.
We thought we were going to, same thing. I'm going to push this button for the first level. If anything else goes wrong, I want to be near the top. Here it goes.
Oh, the car is actually ascending. Oh, I'm so happy.
Now cut that out. Don't you go blubbering again. There's the fourth level. We're up this far anyhow.
And we're going up smoothly now, Jerry. We will soon be out in the open air again.
Not until we look around on this first level, we won't. Hey, that's funny. The car didn't stop at the third level like it did at the others.
That means the third level is sealed off. Some secret work is going on there.
Same thing on the second level. You sure don't get to see much when you go on a sightseeing tour of this island.
Just be patient, Jerry. Before we leave the island, you will have seen nearly all of it. If we ever leave it.
There goes the first level. Guess we don't see anything.
Oh, I'm glad, Jerry. I want to get back to my mother's yacht and see Mother and the captain. I've been on this island nearly all my life, Jerry. I do not like it.
I guess you're right, Joan. This place hasn't been any fun for you. What's going on now?
Now this car has picked up the top of the elevator shaft housing. We're raising it above the ceiling of the island with us.
Well, if that door doesn't open automatically for us when we get all the way up, I'm going to find some way to break out of this car.
Now we're at the top. The door will open now.
Well, it better. Hey, listen. What's that noise?
Oh, that is rain, Jerry. It rains very hard here in Euclidia.
Well, it's a wonder old G47 hasn't figured out a way to stop the rain. He's figured everything else.
Now, Jerry, the door is opening.
Yeah. Boy, and look at it rain. About as wet up here as it was down there. Well, come on, get ready to run for it.
Run where?
Oh, to the Gregory yacht, of course. Where do you think? Boy, that rain's wet. Do we have to shut the door?
No, the door closes automatically. See, it is closing.
Come on, Joan. Hang on to my hand. We're going to get plenty wet, so don't take time to show me anything. And don't stop running till we get to the yacht. That was some sprint. You're all right, Joan? Watch out now. The deck of this yacht is going to be slippery.
I'm so wet, Jerry.
Watch your step now. Now you run into your mother's cabin and get into some dry clothes.
Yes.
I'll go to the captain's cabin. Go on, scoot.
I'll hurry, Jerry.
Talk about rain. I'd better get inside myself. Sorry to bust in without knocking, Captain, but it's... Hey, Tex. Oh, nobody home, huh? Oh, guess he's in the radio cabin or Mrs. Gregory's. Yeah?
Jerry, may I come in?
Yeah, come in.
Oh, Jerry.
Why didn't you change your clothes like I told you to?
Well, my mother is not in her cabin, Jerry, and I have no extra clothing of my own.
Oh, well, then I guess I'll have to give you some of mine. See, here's a good heavy sweater and a pair of pants. They'll keep you dry anyway.
Oh, thank you, Jerry. I'll go to my mother's cabin
Hey.
and put them...
Wait a minute. Something funny here.
Where, Jerry?
On this boat, I mean. Even if Mrs. Gregory and Tex were in the radio room, they'd hear us running and yelling around here, and they'd be worried about why we were gone so long. I wonder where they are.
Do you think something has happened to them?
Gosh, I'm afraid so. Come on. We'll try to find them.
Darkness has fallen on the magic island. Once more, the weird yellow glow of artificial daylight covers the scientific isle of Euclidia in the South Pacific Ocean. Joan Gregory and Jerry Hall returned hours ago to the captive Gregory yacht after a terrifying experience in one of the magnetic elevators, only to find Captain Tex Bradford and Mrs. Gregory are missing from the yacht. A note handed to Jerry by the skipper tells them that Mrs. Gregory and Tex are on a secret mission and to make no move until their return. All is silent on the island, while in the radio cabin of the yacht, Jerry and Joan listen to music from the radio and try to keep themselves cheered up as they wait anxiously for Mrs. Gregory and the captain.
I wish they would hurry, Jerry. I'm so worried.
Oh, cheer up, Joan. Tex can take care of your mother and himself, too.
I know Captain Bradford's a wonderful man, Jerry, and Mother thinks he can accomplish anything. But none of you realize fully the dangers on this horrible island.
Well, it won't help him any for us to run around yelling for him. Just sit still like this note said and listen to the music. Well, it's a good thing old G47 didn't stop our incoming radio beam anyway.
I like this music, Jerry. It's coming from one of your Hollywood radio stations, is it not?
Yeah, and those guys are real hillbillies, too.
What does it mean, this hillbilly? Are they all men from the hills? All with the name William?
Now, look, there's so many things you don't know that I don't know where to start teaching you. Do you like the music, or don't you?
Oh, yes, Jerry. I enjoy it thoroughly.
Well, then sit still and listen to it.
Stop it, Jerry. Stop that music.
Okay. There you are now. I'll hold it there, and you go ahead and talk while I listen to
No,
it.
stop it. Stop it, please, Jerry.
Okay. Hold everything.
Oh, I'm sorry to be so much trouble to you, Jerry, but I'm so nervous. And you also are nervous, Jerry.
Oh, nothing of the kind. I'm just as steady as a rock.
Then why are you chewing that lead pencil up?
Never mind me. You just sit still and quit worrying. They'll be along in a minute. I'd better leave this radio open on Johnson's wavelength, I guess.
Jerry, do you know all about my mother and Captain Bradford? I mean about all the mysterious things they do all over the world, and how they can have ships belonging to many countries helping them. So many things. Do you know about that, Jerry?
No. And Mrs. Gregory made me promise I wouldn't ask her any more about it. But we'll find out someday. Hey, now where are you going?
I was just going to look out over the island and see it.
No, you're not. Get away from that door. Now, what did I tell you? Didn't it say in the note for us to act just as if your mother and the captain were here on the yacht with us?
Oh, I'm sorry, Jerry, but I get so worried.
Well, so do I. But you'll get over there. Get over there and sit down. Go on, I said. Sit down.
Why, Jerry, you're wonderful when you speak like that. So commanding and masterful.
Oh, all us men are like that. We don't expect much from you women. And, of course, I'm 16 and you're only 15. Makes a lot of difference.
Oh, I'm sure it does, Jerry.
I wish they'd hurry, though. That yellow light is all over the island. And if they haven't got any of those strict glasses, they might get lost.
I think they would not be allowed to have the glasses, but they should be able to find their way back to the glare of the yacht lights.
Hey, quiet. Listen.
Why, what is it?
Shh, quiet, I said. Listen.
Someone's coming along the deck.
Sit still. We don't want to act too anxious.
Oh, Mother.
John, my dear.
Boy, am I glad to see you folks.
Sorry to leave you kids like that, but we had to get something done quick.
And Tex thought that if you didn't know anything about it, you wouldn't be subject to any danger over the idea.
Oh, Jerry and I had a terrible experience in one of the magnetic elevators.
Yeah, and Joan acted just like a girl. Started right in to cry.
Well, Jerry, you can't expect us women to be as brave as you men.
No, I guess I shouldn't. Well, Tex, did you get some plan of escape figured out?
I hope so. Pat and I took a long chance getting this thing. Is the cabin all tight?
Jerry and I have inspected the opaque cloth covering since the rain. The cabin is quite safe, Captain.
Good girl, Joe. Well, here's what we've got.
What's that? Looks like a pocket fire extinguisher.
That is one of the small oxygen tanks these scientists have in clips in nearly every room on the island.
I have never been allowed to touch one of those, Captain. Did G47 give it to you?
Not exactly.
Gee, you swiped it.
I'm afraid we did, Jerry. I don't approve of taking anyone else's property, but this means our chance to escape from the island, possibly our lives. So we took it.
But when the loss is discovered, G47 will be very angry.
That's why we've got to work fast. I knew they couldn't see me carrying this thing. I had it inside this coat of opaque cloth, but they'll soon discover it's gone.
I'll help you, Tex. What do you want to do?
Tell you in a minute, kid. First, I want to get Joan and Pat started on my celluloid diving suit. You three wait here while I go to my cabin and get it. I'll spring the lock on this door. Don't open for anyone but me.
You look so excited, Mother. Has the captain a good plan?
Yes, dear. Tex has a very fine plan. Not for our immediate escape, but for getting a message to Johnson so that he may arrange our rescue.
I know what it is. He's going to use that celluloid diving suit with this little oxygen tank inside of it to get through the ring of gas in the fog.
Yes, Jerry. The captain is going to try to swim out through that fog ring tonight. And he's going to put one of those homing pigeons inside the suit with him. Then he'll release it when he's safely outside the ring.
That is wonderful, Mother. And it may work if there's nothing metallic on the captain's clothing.
Yeah, say, that oxygen tank might set off the alarm.
That's taken care of. While you and Joan were gone, I helped the captain cement a lining of the opaque cloth into his celluloid diving suit and his swimming suit. The magnetism won't affect anything inside that cloth.
I think, Mother, that you and Captain Bedford are almost as clever as G47 and his scientists.
What do you mean, almost? Tex has got those Euclideans beat.
Okay, Jerry.
I'll let him in.
Now, we'll have to work fast. I put my swimming suit under this robe. so it won't take long to get ready.
Good.
Jerry, go up in front and get the other pigeon. Hide him under your coat as you did before, and take your time.
Okay, Tex. I'll be careful not to be seen.
Now, Pat, if you and Joan will help me get into this thing.
What a peculiar garment, Captain.
It's airtight and opaque. That's all we need.
J12C to J24Y. Johnson to Bradford. Message for you.
Quiet for this.
Have had no word for you for hours. Transmission conditions perfect here in Los Angeles. Cannot understand why storm north of you should prevent reception by stations east of you. Latest report picked up from oil tanker at 24 degrees south. Says electrical disturbances south of them. Can you hear me, J24Y? If no answer, we'll repeat every quarter hour. That is all. Johnson.
Then there's no hope for the pigeon to reach him. He's gone back to Los Angeles.
Don't worry, Joan. That was all in code. Johnson is really standing by at latitude 24 south right now.
Yes, dear. And when he said he'd received a message from an oil tanker, it meant he had contacted an oil tanker and was refueled. So now he's ready for anything necessary to help us.
You have some clever and loyal friends, Mother. Will you tell me someday
Yes,
just
Joan.
how...
Someday I'll tell you all about Tex and myself and how we're able to do so many things. But now...
It's me.
I'll let him in.
I got him all right, and nobody saw me.
Good boy. Now I'll tie this message to his leg, and you can help Pat and Joan cement me up in this thing with the oxygen tank and the pigeon inside on my back. Then when I get well beyond the fog and gas rings, I'll rip the celluloid shirt off and turn the pigeon loose.
But how are you going to get back through the gas ring? You're going to ruin that suit taking the pigeon out of it.
That worries me, Jerry. Tex thinks he can hold his breath long enough to swim through the gas ring coming back. But I'm afraid. Oh, Tex, if anything should happen to you...
Oh, forget it, Pat. I'll make it. Now, the pigeon is ready. Open the tank so it barely releases the oxygen, Jerry. Joan, you help Pat cement this thing around my waist. Then you can slip the tank and the pigeon down my back and cement the helmet on.
That's about as little as I can let out of the tank, and be sure it'll be continuous, Tex.
Thanks, Jerry. Now, stick the tank down my back so it lays flat along the bulge where this thing is cemented to my swimming belt.
Coming up. Say, that's just going to fit in there.
Here's the pigeon, Tex. You're sure it won't get crushed?
No, there's plenty of space inside this stiff celluloid thing to give the pigeon room. Now, let him down in there easy now.
Little bird isn't a bit frightened, is it, Mother?
We've always been kind to it. It trusts us to continue being kind.
Here's your helmet, Tex.
Just a second. Now, last-minute instructions. I can't talk when that is on. Now, when you cement it all around my shoulders, you, Jerry, walk out on deck with me. Walk between me and the island. I'll have this robe of the island cloth over my head and shoulders. We'll both go to the engineer's quarters. You'll have to stay there till I get back.
But, Tex, how will we know if you get...
If I get into the water and start swimming out without being seen, it's all over but the shouting. So I'll have Jerry get the engineer to make 8 bells for you as soon as I disappear in the water. Okay, put it on.
Let's hold this edge here, Jerry. And you hold that down, Joan. Now hold it tight.
Yes, Mother.
Very tight and smooth while I put the cement around it. There. Little. There. Now, hurry now. The cement will dry as you walk the deck, and I'm afraid something will happen any minute. Goodbye, dear, and good luck.
Bye, dear.
All clear, Mrs. Gregory. Throw that robe over his head.
All right, wait a minute. There.
I'll take his arm. Now, we're all set. See you later.
Oh, Mother, it's so wonderful of the captain to think of that.
Yes, dear. And it's so brave of him to attempt it. Oh, I hope we've fixed everything all right.
It seemed all right, and the oxygen tank will last a long time at the rate it was discharging.
I wonder how long it will take him. He said the engineer would make 8 bells for us when he's safely in the water.
It's only a few seconds until 8 o'clock now, Mother, so no one will notice anything out of the ordinary in the bells.
Yes, Tex figured on that, or he wouldn't have used it for a signal.
Isn't it about time now, Mother?
It shouldn't be long. The engineer was expecting him. Had the hatch open. He could get into the water noiselessly from there.
And if the pigeon gets away successfully, will it be sure of reaching Johnson's boat?
Easily, Joan. According to the position Johnson gave, he's only 5 degrees north of us, or about 345 miles.
Mother, the signal.
Yes, dear. Tex is gone. He's out in the water, swimming through that gas. Oh, Tex.
On the magic island of the South Seas, time is very precious. The mad scientists who call themselves Euclideans measure time in seconds because they are too busy to use minutes. When Mrs. Gregory, Captain Bradford, and Jerry Hall landed the Gregory yacht at the island and found Mrs. Gregory's long-lost little daughter, Joan, they thought the idea of putting such value on time was ridiculous. Now time has become very precious to those on board the captive Gregory yacht. It is just after 8 o'clock at night. Captain Tex Bradford has been gone 15 minutes, trying to swim out through the ring of fog and gas surrounding the island and release one of the little homing pigeons on which so much depends. A sudden electrical storm sweeps over the weird island as Mrs. Gregory, Jerry, and Joan huddle in the radio cabin on the yacht.
This is a terrible storm, Mother. Are you not glad your boat is safely moored to the pier here now?
Oh, this storm wouldn't hurt the boat, Joan. We came through a couple of them on the way down here.
On Euclidia, we hardly noticed such a storm, as all the quarters are soundproof. But on this boat, it seems very terrifying.
You will learn to love the natural things, Joan, dear. Things that are merely terrible in a natural way if we ever get off this horrible island.
Well, I'm going back to the engineer's quarters and wait for Tex there. I'll let you know the minute there's any news.
You will be careful, will you not, Jerry? I would not like anything to happen to you.
Hear that, Mrs. Gregory? Joan's getting kind of stuck on me.
I am not stuck at all. You see, I am quite free to move at will.
You mustn't mind Jerry, my dear. His expressions are a little puzzling at times.
But, Jerry, one time you say I am stuck up when I am not sticking up on anything. And now you say I am stuck on you when I am not even near you.
Oh, I ain't got time to teach you any better now. I got to get back on duty where I belong.
Oh, Jerry, the storm is bad, isn't it?
Yeah, I can make it all right. See you as soon as Tex gets back.
Will Jerry be quite safe, Mother?
Yes, Joan. He has only a few feet to go along the deck to the engine room. There's not enough wind to make the footing dangerous.
I am glad of that. Jerry is a foolish boy, but he is also a nice boy. And I should not like anything to happen to him.
Joan, this storm, all that lightning flashing around the island, what effect does that have on all the electrical devices the Euclideans maintain?
I'm afraid I do not understand just what it is you wish to know.
This magnetic ring of fog around the island. Will the magnetic force be maintained through this electrical storm?
Yes, Mother. Euclidia has been struck by lightning during many storms, but G47 and his assistants have developed some means of carrying the lightning off without harm to the island or instruments on it.
Yes, of course they would have protected themselves. Then even in this storm, Tex will have the danger of the magnetic ring, as well as the gas.
Oh, I was stupid about that. I might have told you.
Might have told me what? Is there something different about the magnetic ring in a storm?
Not the magnetic ring, but the gas ring. The rain will so dilute the gas, which is very soluble in water, that there will be little or no danger from the gas.
Oh, that's wonderful, Joan. I only wish Tex knew that. It would save him the trouble and danger of trying to swim underwater beyond his endurance.
I think the clever captain will have figured that out for himself. I remember he said he was sure the gas would not be effective in water.
Then he should remember that and swim on the surface.
I think so, Mother. And with the rain, he would swim on the surface without danger of being seen.
And Tex can swim and float for hours. Oh, what a relief that is, my dear. The storm came up about 10 minutes ago, when Tex had been gone about 5 minutes.
He would, of course, swim beyond the ends of the piers before he released the pigeon.
Yes, of course he would.
And the piers are 200 feet long. Then it would take him some time to get the pigeon safely out of the celluloid swimming suit, and he would start back after discarding the oxygen tank. He has hardly had time to return, Mother.
You're right, dear. And he wouldn't hurry back. In fact, he would stay beyond the end of the pier as long as he was swimming easily and naturally, because his return might attract attention. But did he get out safely?
Oh, I think you need not worry about that. The alarm would have sounded before this if he had not safely passed the protection rings.
But that storm, the lightning flashing. Look, Joan. It lights up this room as if it were day, and through that tiny port. What if lightning strikes the island while the captain's swimming through the magnetic fog? Oh, Joan, what of that?
Mother, that is a terrible thought. I know the scientists use the magnetic ring of fog in some way to carry off the lightning and ground it into the water.
Then it's just as if Tex was swimming through the very thing that had been built to handle the discharge. Just as if you held a lightning arrestor in your hand during a storm.
I'm afraid that would be it, Mother.
Oh, Tex. Why doesn't he hurry? I'm going to call Jerry back from the engine room again. He may have heard or seen something of the captain.
No, Mother. Jerry has his place there, waiting for the captain. And we have our places here, waiting for them both. It would not please the captain and Jerry if we did less than our duty.
Joan, you're the most wonderful daughter in the world. You have more courage than your mother. What is that?
The signal to submerge. Mother, this is going to be something of danger and terror, I think.
To submerge? You mean to submerge the island?
Yes, Mother. I told you the island could be submerged so that a boat could pass over the top of it.
But, Joan, do you realize what that means? This yacht is tied to the island, this boat. What will happen to us? And Tex is swimming out there somewhere. Joan, what?
There is the location signal. 5 strokes on that gong after the signal to submerge. That means at this pier, Pier 5, where this yacht is held fast.
But what exactly can that mean? Is it possible to submerge only one section of the island?
No, I am not sure I understand that signal. Unless... Yes, it could be. There is an anchorage lock at this pier. I think your yacht is to be drawn inside the island and submerged.
This yacht submerged?
Yes, floated within a lock under the island floor, and then submerged with the island.
What did that mean, Joan?
The submerging operation has begun. This boat is now being lowered between the piers.
But, Joan, we'll drown. This boat can't be submerged.
It will not be submerged as you mean it, Mother. It will be...
Hey, Mrs. Gregory, do you know what's going on?
Why, Joan says they're going to submerge this yacht.
Yeah, the water's going down right now in the space between the piers. They're going to take the yacht into a lock under the island someplace.
But Tex, he isn't back, Jerry.
Well, no, Mrs. Gregory, he isn't.
Oh, Jerry, that is very bad.
Well, can't he get back now, Joan?
No, Mother. Unless the captain could have been within the slip formed by the 2 piers here, he could not get in without being seen. The ends of the piers are now joined by watertight gates to allow the space between them to be used as a lock.
I'm going out there and try to find Tex.
Oh, no.
No, you're not.
Why, Jerry.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Gregory. I don't mean to be rude, but you're not going out there.
Yes, I am, Jerry. I can swim. And if Tex is out there in that water alone, hopelessly shut off from the island, I'm going after him. He won't know what's going on here. He'll be afraid to return for fear of giving away the escape of the Pigeon.
Now, look here, Mrs. Gregory. Captain Bradford is in command of this boat. He gave me my orders, and I'm going to carry him out.
Jerry is right, Mother. The captain would want you to stay here.
This is my yacht. I'm going after
Then
Tex.
you'll have to lick me to do it, Mrs. Gregory. I'm sorry to act like this, but orders are orders. And the last thing the captain told me was to keep you on board if I had to tie you in a chair. And I'm going to do it.
Jerry, you're doing what you think is right. But the storm is over. And I'm going to swim out there while I've still got a chance.
You have no chance now, Mother. These locks empty very rapidly, and by now the water is not even covering the lock gate at the end of the pier. You could not swim out, and if you tried to walk out to the end of the pier, you would be stopped by a guard.
But Tex out there, how will he get back?
Now, look here, Mrs. Gregory. You've got to buck up and face this thing. We don't dare let anyone see us worried about a thing. They don't suspect yet that Tex swam out with that pigeon. And if old G47 got wise to that, he might do something that, well, so Tex couldn't ever come back.
Joan, what do you think about it? I don't seem to think very clearly where Tex is concerned.
Jerry is right, Mother. We must act as if nothing had happened to frighten us. We will be quite safe, of course, when the yacht is taken inside the island. It will float in the submarine lock just as safely as it does here. But if we act nervous, it could only be for one reason, that we were worried about someone not on board.
That's the idea, Joan. And as long as G47 thinks Tex is with us, he'll find some way to get out of the water and back on the island without the Euclideans knowing what he was doing.
Well, at least we can go out on deck and see what's happening.
I think that would be all right. Do you not think so, Jerry?
No, I don't. I told the skipper and the engineer to stay under cover, and I think we'd better do the same thing. If they see us on deck without Tex, they'll know he isn't aboard.
Oh, I suppose you're right. But it seems so terrible to just sit here and do nothing while this boat is being taken inside the island. How will Tex get back to us? How will he know what's happened?
I guess he'll figure that quick enough, all right. When he finds the gate closed at the end of the pier, then he'll have to swim around to one of the other piers and walk right up on the island.
Oh, that will be bad, Jerry. Then G47 will know the captain has been in the water, and it will take them only a few minutes to discover that a pigeon has been sent.
Oh, that doesn't matter. The pigeon's gone, and I'm willing to chance it getting to Johnson's boat. If only Tex is safe.
I'll feel a lot better when he's back on board with us. Gee, there's Tex now.
Come in.
Oh, it's G47.
It is I.
What do you want here?
I merely wanted to assure you there was no danger. Your yacht will be safely taken into a submarine chamber on the island, and all on board will be quite safe.
Then what?
Then the island will be submerged completely.
Oh, Mother, the island, it will all be submerged.
You mean there won't be anything left above the water?
Not a thing. Nothing for a man to hold on to or walk upon, for example. But of course, as you are all on board, you have nothing to fear.
No, we have nothing to fear.
Precisely. However, if one of your party was absent, say, out swimming around the ends of the piers,
Yes. Suppose. What then?
the unlucky person would soon drown, swimming around where this island once was.
The magic island is going to be submerged. The Gregory yacht is slowly sinking below the surface of the island as the water is pumped out of the lock in which the yacht has been held. G47 has just left the radio cabin after assuring Mrs. Gregory and Jerry and Joan that they were quite safe on board the yacht. Captain Tex Bradford left half an hour ago to swim outside the rings of fog and gas surrounding the island and release a pigeon to Johnson's boat. The yacht is ready to be drawn into the island's submarine lock. The giant pumps have lowered the water in the lock to the level of that within the island, and the boat rides easily. But in the radio cabin, Mrs. Gregory, Joan, and Jerry are terrified.
I'm going out on that deck, Jerry. Orders or no orders, I'm going out there.
But, Mother, Captain Bradford said you were not to do that.
Oh, might as well go now, I guess. We didn't fool anybody.
You think G47 knew Tex was out there swimming when he came into the cabin just now?
Yes, Mother. G47 was smiling and quite pleased with himself. And when he looks and acts like that, it is only because he has done something particularly mean or terrible to someone.
That's what I thought, too. You know, when the old guy said we needn't worry if we were all on board, he knew we weren't all on board. So we might as well go out on deck and watch how this thing is done.
G47 must have known we would be going out. He didn't even close the door.
G47 knows nearly everything that everyone is going to do, almost before they know it themselves.
But if Tex is out there somewhere, swimming beyond the end of the pier, he'll be helpless. What can we do about it?
Nothing right now. But Tex has probably got some ideas of his own, and I'll bet this island don't do any sinking without his getting on it.
But that would do him no good, Jerry. If he were not admitted to one of the chambers, he would only drown when the island was completely submerged.
Oh, I can't stand this any longer. Come on, I'm going out on deck.
Gee, Mrs. Gregory, look at that. Why, we're way below the top of the island.
Yes, Jerry. This lock between the piers is like a great steel aqueduct. Are these piers solid to the ocean floor, Joan?
Oh, no, Mother. Only to the 5th level, and only 2 of them have locks between them as this one has, so the water may be pumped out. The false bottom is steel. From the 5th to the 10th level, the main part of the island is round and smooth, so that it may all be submerged.
You really mean the whole island will go down till the top of it is 40 or 50 feet below the ocean?
Yes. Large ships pass over it easily, and the island is so smooth and tapering toward the top and center that when a ship tries to anchor here, the anchor merely slides over the top of the island.
Gee whiz.
And we can do nothing. Just stand here and wait until we're taken into that lock.
Hey, listen. The pumps have stopped. We must be down.
Yes, Jerry. The water in this lock is now at the level of the water in the lock inside the island. The gate will open into the island now.
There is a lock gate in that smooth wall ahead?
Yes, Mother. See, it is opening now.
Golly, it's opening just as easy and as quiet as everything else on this island works. Not a sound from it.
No, but for the water rushing through it to even up the levels, we shouldn't have noticed it. And how light it is back in there.
The Euclideans use a great deal of light where it will not be seen from outside. All the subterranean chambers are brilliantly lighted.
We're moving. The boat's starting to slide into the lock. Are we being pulled by magnets, Joan?
Yes, the floor of this lock is covered with a series of magnets. The boat is perfectly controlled.
But from where? I see no one. Not even on that ramp along the inside of the lock.
It is all controlled from the central chambers. The position of the boat is clearly indicated by the action of the magnets.
Boy, what a place this is.
And when we are inside, what can we do then?
Hey, wait a minute. The mast is sitting at the top of the lock. It's going to crack.
Well, can't we stop it? I'll gladly unstep the mast rather than break it.
No, Mother, there's no time. The yacht is being put in here because of some emergency. They will just break the mast off. It has happened to other boats here.
Gee, there goes the radio spars. Now we haven't much of an area left.
The mast is nearly broken now. I hope the strain doesn't start the seams in the hull.
Will we be safe standing here?
Sure we will. Those deck plates will hold all right. The whole thing's going to fall on the after cabin there.
Oh, there it goes.
Look out for flying splinters. Gee, that's too bad, Mrs. Gregory. It did a lot of damage.
Oh, Mother, your beautiful boat.
Oh, never mind that. I can get another boat, but Tex.
Quiet, Mrs. Gregory.
Mother, you must be careful.
I know, and I suppose G47 can hear all we say, but I've reached the point where I don't care. Tex is out there somewhere, and nothing else matters to me.
It all seems so hopeless, doesn't it? And you love the captain so dearly. I am very sad for you, Mother.
Oh, me too, Mrs. Gregory. But don't give up hope. Tex is a smart guy. No telling what he's done.
You're just saying that to cheer me up, Jerry. You know there isn't one chance in a million Tex could be safe.
Well, I got a hunch. And when I get a hunch, everything's going to come out slick.
Look, Mother. The stern of the boat is nearly inside the lock now.
Yes, dear. And soon the gate will close, and Tex will be outside in the water. He can't swim forever. So many things might have happened to him.
Take it easy. Please, Mrs. Gregory. You're so swell, and I'm so sorry for you. Well, I could bust right out and bawl like a girl, but it wouldn't do any good.
Oh, you're right, Jerry. You're a sweet boy. Tex would want me to keep my chin up.
Why do you say that, Mother? Keep your chin up. Your chin has not fallen down.
Oh, Joan, my dear, you and Jerry would almost make anything possible.
We're pretty swell, ain't we?
Jerry, I have told you that ain't is not correct.
Well, I know it ain't.
Then why do you insist on saying it?
Yeah, the gate's closing. The yacht's inside. And out there in that cold water, in the dark.
Now, steady, Mrs. Gregory. Don't say any more now. Someone is coming along this ramp, coming toward us. Not a word about how we really feel. You too, Joan. Keep a stiff upper lip.
But how will it help anyone for me to keep my upper lip stiff?
Oh, forget it. Just say nothing. Let me do the talking.
I think you might well be trusted to do it better than the rest of us, Jerry. Yes, someone is coming and making no sound, of course.
It is G47, and that is very strange.
Why do you say that, Joan?
That's what I'd like to know. I don't think anything that guy does is strange anymore.
It is strange that G47 would come down into the submarine locks. He always stays in the main control chamber when submerging and leaves these locks to his assistants.
He's certainly looking the yacht over carefully.
I wonder what he wants. We should come over here and get it over with. That guy makes me feel like I had some porcupine soup with the needles in it.
I do not understand what you mean.
Never mind, Jerry, dear. Hush now. Here he comes.
Hey there, G47. What's the idea of breaking up Mrs. Gregory's boat?
You will make him angry, Jerry.
I don't want him to think we're worried about anything else.
I must say that you've treated us rather roughly. Might we inquire, G47, what caused the sudden decision to run us into this lock?
You might, and you have. A little later, you will witness an interesting demonstration. If you care to come to the neptoscope control chamber, you will see... No, I shall not tell you. it will be more pleasant to surprise you.
We will be glad to come and witness any demonstration you care to give us.
Sure. Want us to come right now?
I think not until we are submerged. Is that not so, G47?
Precisely, Cleostra. It will have no value until we are submerged. You will bring the dear captain, of course?
Why, yes, of course.
Yeah, sure. We'll bring him, if he wants to come.
I feel reasonably certain Captain Bradford would be very happy indeed to have the opportunity of witnessing the demonstration from within the island. You will be notified when to appear. Then you may tell the captain if you can find him.
Gee, he's gone. Right through that wall.
Yes, Jerry. There are many automatic doors along the walls of these locks. There is nothing about it that cannot be explained, although if you are not watching closely,
Yes,
it
Joan,
seems...
dear, but never mind that now. Did you hear what G47 said? We might bring the captain if we could find him. He knows Tex isn't aboard. He knows we can't find him. He's taunting us. Tex is lost, do you
Here
hear?
now, Mrs. Gregory. You've got to quit that. Come on, in the cabin.
Yes, Mother. Someone will be watching us, and we must not let them see how we feel.
You take your mother's arm on that side, Joan.
Yes.
I'll open the door when we get to it.
No, Jerry. I'm going to stay right out on this deck. Stay where I can see, where I can watch for Tex.
But there is nothing to see, Mother. We are inside the lock. Walls of steel all about us. We could see nothing, not even the water of the ocean.
Oh, of course, Joan, you're right, but I feel so helpless.
Just a minute, Mrs. Gregory, and we'll be fixed up all nice inside the cabin. Then we can plan quietly what we can try to do, and you'll feel better. Here we go now. Go right in, Mrs. Gregory.
Come, Mother.
Yes, dear, yes, I'm all right.
Now, just a second, and I'll find the light switch.
That's strange, Jerry. We left the lights on when we went out of the cabin.
So we did, Mother.
Yeah, that's right. I guess that falling mast must have put them out.
I put them out.
Gee
The
whiz.
captain.
Oh.
Yes, I put the lights out just as the mast fell. So G47 would think the falling mast had wrecked the wiring, and I could move in here unnoticed.
Oh, Tex. Tex, dear.
There, now, Pat. Don't cry, darling.
Oh, I'm so happy.
I have found the light switch.
Well, don't turn them on yet.
Why not, Jerry?
Oh, just because.
But why not, Jerry? I will turn them on. Oh, Mother.
Oh, boy.
No, Jerry, no. Joan did perfectly right in turning on the lights.
Yes, dear, you did quite right.
Well, anyhow, I think they ought to be off on account of G47 seen in here. He thinks you're drowned, Tex, or still trying to swim around out there.
Well, this cloth will keep anyone from seeing in here. And I've got to tell you the news.
Yes, Tex, what happened? You can see what happened to us.
You know why the yacht has been pulled into this lock? Why the island is going to submerge?
Yes, but one thing at a time. In the first place, the pigeon got away safely. And he's been gone nearly an hour now. That means he's 30 or 40 miles from here on his way to Johnson's boat.
That's wonderful, Tex. And he ought to make it all right.
Gee, that's swell, sir. You did a slick job of it.
But Captain Bradford, G47 knows you were swimming around out there. He must know it. And he would also know that you had released the other pigeon.
Yes, that's true. And they'll send airplanes or ray guns or something out to fly the pigeon down or kill it.
No, G47 doesn't dare send out a plane or a submarine or anything else.
Why not?
I see no reason,
Because
Captain, why...
there's a large fleet of battleships coming. I heard guards talking on the pier about it. Some large fleet converging on this position to hold battle practice. And the island has to submerge.
Then they can't do anything to stop the pigeon?
Not a thing, son. That pigeon will get to Johnson's boat.
The magic island is sinking into the ocean. It is sinking at the will of G47 and the scientists, however, and no one inside the artificial island is in any danger. The strange isle of Euclidia is being submerged below the surface of the sea in order to permit a large fleet of battleships to hold maneuvers over it without suspecting the existence of the island. The Gregory yacht has been drawn into a submarine lock under the surface of the island, and Mrs. Gregory, Captain Bradford, and Jerry and Joan discuss the situation in the radio cabin of the yacht.
You said the Euclideans could destroy a battle fleet easily and quickly, Joan. Why don't they destroy this one?
I think there's a very good reason. You know what it is, do you not, Captain Tex?
It's got me, Joan. I may be a little stupid after my long swim, but I can't see it.
Well, the only reason I can think of is that this crazy bunch aren't quite ready to start destroying battleships or warships but I don't see what they're waiting for.
Captain Bradford, you realize that those battleships are almost upon us. They will be over this position in an hour if what you heard the guard say is true.
I know that, Joan, but how did those ships get so close?
Hey, I'm beginning to get it. They let those ships get within range on purpose, didn't they, Joan?
Of course, Jerry.
But why?
I got it, Captain. They must have seen those battleships coming for the last 200 miles or more. And the reason they didn't make any move to stop them was because they didn't want anybody to suspect this island. They wanted you to get out that pigeon. Then they figured to stop the pigeon and get the formula.
You are exactly right, Jerry. These Euclideans have great patience, and they will have many more chances to destroy battleships, while this was their last chance to get the captain's formula.
But they've missed their chance anyhow. The pigeon got away, and the ships are too near for them to go after the pigeon.
Yes, Mother, and G-47 will not attack those ships without the captain's formula, for he is not sure the formula has not found its way to friendly hands already. And in that event, Euclidia would live a very short life.
Boy, that's almighty keen for us, isn't it, Tex?
It sure is, son. That little pigeon is well on his way to Johnson's boat now. And if this battle fleet stays around these waters for a few hours, long enough for the pigeon to reach Johnson's boat, and for Johnson to start running back to Los Angeles, we're as good as off this island now.
Out of it, you mean? We're inside the blame thing now.
We are quite safe in here. There is nothing to worry about.
But inside this lock, we must be 10 feet below the surface of the water now. How about the air?
The air is kept fresh from oxygen tanks in the base of the island. There is enough compressed oxygen there to feed every chamber on the island a normal flow of pure air if we were submerged for a month, and even after that, for they have machinery for getting the oxygen out of the water around us.
Golly whiskers.
Well, Tex, it seems that we're comparatively safe at least, though it's a strange feeling to be on board a yacht that's floating below the surface of the ocean.
Yes, we're all right until G-47 decides to do something to us. And when he decides that the pigeon is safely on its way, I think he'll begin to do things.
Tell us what happened to you, Captain. When the lock gates to the ocean were closed, we thought you had been caught outside the lock.
It was terrible, Tex, to feel the yacht being submerged and thinking of you out there, helpless when the island went under also.
Well, I was inside the lock before they closed the gate, but I floated out near the end of the pier for a while to hear what the guards were talking about. That's how I got the information on the battle fleet coming.
But how did you come aboard here? That's what I can't see.
Well, when you were all looking forward, at the lock gates opening into the island, I sneaked along the deck and in here. I was afraid to attract your attention for fear you'd give me away.
Then, when the mast was knocked over on the cabin roofs, you put out the lights so we could enter the cabin without exposing you. That was very clever, Captain.
It was wonderful, Tex. And now we're all together again.
Yeah, we're all together again. But I got a sneaking notion our troubles are getting ready to get together, too.
What's up, kid?
Well, for one thing, the radio's smashed.
How much damage was done?
You mean when the mast fell and broke your antenna cables?
Yes, Joan. That wouldn't hurt the set here any. But without an aerial, and shielded by this metal lock, I'm afraid we haven't much of a radio left.
G-47 and his transmission engineers do not use aerials. Yet their apparatus will send and receive messages much farther than your equipment.
Sure. They build their sets to work without aerials, and they've got electricity to burn. We've only got portable stuff.
Well, turn it on, Jerry. Open it wide now and leave it hot. We might pick up something to listen to.
Okay, I'll warm it up. But I looked at the winding, and this set wasn't made to do much without an aerial.
What does that mean, Joan, dear? That was the alarm gong, wasn't it?
Yes, Mother. That means to stand by all stations. I think they will submerge the island now.
Will it affect us any in this lock?
I think not. At least not until the oxygen supply is turned on. Then the air will feel sharp when you inhale it. That will be the only thing noticeable, I'm sure.
How deep will we go, dear?
I think to the bottom, if we are to clear heavy ships.
And how far down is the bottom?
The island can be submerged to more than half its own depth. The airlock in the ocean floor is 60 feet deep, and the island is only 100 feet in height. So if we submerge completely, the surface of the island will be 50 to 60 feet below the waterline.
That sounds mighty big to us, Joan. I'd like to see it done.
Would they allow that, do you think, dear?
I have seen it many times. Most of the locks have one transparent wall, so that you may look out into the water and study the natural life on the ocean floor.
I got the set hot, Tex, but nothing doing. I've tried every wavelength. Got it on Johnson now. But I can't even raise a signal from any of those boats around us here.
Well, we better go to work on that set, kid. Our only hope is to have some way of hearing from Johnson when the pigeon gets to his boat.
That is the signal to submerge. Now the island will sink slowly into the sea, and in a few moments we will be many feet below the surface of the ocean.
That signal has a heavy, resonant, vibrating quality. Mightn't it be heard for many miles around?
I wondered about that, too, Pat. Those battleships have plenty of underwater ears. They can hear a sub a long way off.
No, Captain. The Euclideans have controlled that in some way. The sound stops at the magnetic ring and does not rise above the surface of the island.
Old G47 sure thinks of everything, and then some.
I wish we could see what's going on. It would be wonderful to look up through the water and see a fleet maneuver from below.
What's that for, June?
The island has sunk to the first level, 10 feet below the water. That would mean that the little steel control chambers you saw on top of the island are just going underwater now.
They didn't get under any too soon either. Those ships must be within 20 miles of here by now.
Come in. Oh, you. I might have known it.
Gee whiz, now the cat's out of the bag.
Tex, you shouldn't have said come in so carelessly.
You need not reproach the captain. I have known for some time he was aboard.
I should have thought of that. Of course you knew it when you could not find him swimming near the island.
Precisely.
What do you want here?
Nothing here. You will come with me, Captain Bradford. You also, Cleostra. Follow me immediately.
Are you going to show them something?
No, I am going to put them where they can see nothing.
Was that the second level? Are we now 20 feet below the sea?
Precisely. Captain, Cleostra, come quickly.
And what if we don't care to come?
Captain, do you not see that ray gun in his hand? We will do as you wish, G47.
Joan's right, Tex. Jerry and I'll be all right here. Go with him and do as he says.
That's the spirit, Mrs. Gregory. They can't scare us.
You make up in stupidity what you lack in fear. Go. I will follow you.
Keep your chin up, Pat. Take care of her, Jerry. Come on, Joan.
Yes, Captain. We will go.
I might remind you, Mrs. Gregory, that I expect you and this young fool to remain quietly on the yacht. Your friends will return when I have finished with them.
Jerry, what's he going to do with Tex and Joan?
Now, don't worry, Mrs. Gregory. He's not going to do anything to them. Only put them where they can't see what's going on.
But why them and not us?
Well, he figures you and I ain't any too heavy on brains, I guess.
Why, Jerry.
Well, I mean, he's afraid Joan will get a chance to do something because she knows all about this island. And he knows Tex is liable to see some way to get an alarm to those boats. I guess he thinks you and I just sit in here and cry.
The third level. This is quite an experience, Jerry.
Plenty for me. But what I'm most worried about is that this radio won't work. And I got a notion there's nothing wrong with the set. It's all in the aerial. And this steel lock isn't helping me any.
What was that?
The anchor chain ran out and dropped the stern hook on the steel floor of this lock.
Of course. The skipper must have released it in trying to clear away the broken mast.
Well, it won't hurt anything.
J12C calling J24Y.
It's Johnson.
The set's working again. Listen.
Nothing more, Jerry.
Well, never mind. We'll keep the set open. Maybe he'll come in again.
Now we're down to the fourth level, Jerry. There should be only one more of those alarms.
Yeah. I wonder where G47 took Joan and Captain Bradford.
J12C calling J24Y. J12C standing by. We'll stay here indefinitely. Standing by. J12C will repeat every quarter hour. J12C, J24Y. That is all.
Oh, Jerry, he's standing by. Johnson's arrived at the position north of us.
Then he's within range of the pigeon Tex sent off. That's swell. All we gotta do now is hang on and wait. Oh, how about it?
Can't do any harm, Jerry.
Come in.
Oh, come on in, Skipper, and close the door.
Aye.
What's on your mind, Skipper?
Anchor.
Yes, Skipper, we heard it drop. Did it do any damage?
Radio.
What about the radio?
Aerial.
Was the aerial tangled in the anchor chain?
Aye.
Gosh, then thanks for letting the anchor run out and hitting the bottom.
Why?
Because we didn't have any aerial at all till that happened.
Don't you see, Skipper? The anchor's the aerial now. It's touching the bottom of this steel lock, and the aerial's mixed up with it. Leave that anchor on the bottom, Skipper, and the aerial wire mixed up with a chain. We've got this whole island for an aerial now.
The Magic Island is underwater. 50 feet below the surface of the South Pacific Ocean lies the strange hidden Isle of Euclidia. The battle fleet of one of the great nations is holding maneuvers in this section, and the Euclidean scientists have submerged their island rather than run the risk of detection. The Gregory yacht has been drawn into a submarine lock with all on board, but now only Mrs. Gregory and Jerry remain with the crew, as Captain Tex Bradford and Joan have been taken to another part of the island by G-47. Jerry and Mrs. Gregory are talking excitedly about a radio message just received from Johnson's boat. The skipper is with them.
That's fine, Jerry. Then as long as the broken aerial is tied to the anchor chain, you will be able to use the radio.
I think so, Mrs. Gregory. You see, the anchor lies on the bottom of this steel lock, and with the aerial mixed up with the anchor chain, we've really got the whole island as an aerial.
Was that all you had to tell us, Skipper?
Aye.
Did you see where G-47 took Joan and the captain?
Nope.
Just let the anchor stay down, won't you, Skipper? And take another turn or two of aerial wire around that anchor chain to be sure it won't slip off. Will you please, sir?
Aye.
That's all, Skipper. Thanks a lot.
Aye.
The skipper don't waste a whole lot of time talking, but he knows what he's doing all the time.
J12C to J24Y, regular quarter-hour report. If you are getting me, try relay to land station. No signal from you for 24 hours.
Poor Johnson, he doesn't know we're getting him.
Large fleet holding maneuvers near last position you gave me. You should be able to contact fleet if in same vicinity, making no attempt to move to your aid as per instructions. J12C, standing by. J12C.
Gee, I'd like to try sending a message to him.
I'm afraid it wouldn't be safe, Jerry. These men would be sure to intercept it on the island.
I don't know, Mrs. Gregory. We've got plenty of aerial now, and Johnson's only about 300 miles from here. It might work. But if their radios are grounded on the same framework, no use. They'd pick it up, sure.
The thing I'm afraid of, Jerry, is that Johnson may send one of the pigeons from his boat. And with our yacht in this lock, the poor bird would be hopelessly lost.
Yeah, Tex was worried about that, too. But I don't know how to send a message to him that G-47 can't figure out.
I know the code, Jerry, but it's too dangerous, and I think Tex would just want us to wait a few hours and see if our pigeon gets to Johnson's boat all right. Then we can take action.
Okay, Mrs. Gregory. I guess you're right. But it's a funny feeling to have a radio and not to be able to use it.
Jerry, did you feel that?
Yeah, kind of like a little earthquake.
It was sharper than that. There wasn't any sound, yet I distinctly felt the boat shudder just a little.
Sure. That fleet's right over us. They must be starting target practice.
There it is again. And again. And again. Yes, Jerry, that's target practice.
Boy, I hope they don't use any torpedoes.
Or wouldn't the magnetic field around the island deflect the torpedoes away from us?
Yeah, if they're using the magnetic field. But I don't think they are.
Why not?
Because that would call attention to the island. And I think what old G-47 wants most of all right now is to keep his island a secret.
That's right, Jerry. And there may be a chance of a stray torpedo coming this way, though I think we're too deep for a direct hit.
I'm getting kind of nervous about Joan and the captain. I wish we knew what they were doing.
So do I, but I think no harm will come to them.
I'm not so sure about that. Let's go and look for them.
Tex told us to stay here, and he wouldn't want us to move around and leave the radio.
Yeah, I suppose so. But there's no danger of Johnson calling again right away. He said he'd call every quarter hour.
I'll stay here, Jerry, if you want to go look for them. I'll be quite all right here.
No, ma'am. We go together or not at all. Tex left me to take care of you, and I'm going to do it. I got it. We can leave the skipper in here with a radio. Then we could go and know that someone was here to take any message that came in.
We'll do that, Jerry. Go and bring the skipper, will you?
Okay.
J12C to J24Y. J12C calling J24Y. Message just received. You must be in danger. Your position has given me impossible. No island at such position. Just received message from battleship. Engaged in long-range fire on that position. Reports no island. Ship has been getting me clear. Why no message from you? J12C to J24Y. We'll ask fleet to look for you. Standing by. Johnson.
That's a funny one, isn't it?
What's funny about it, Jerry? Johnson has been talking with one of those ships overhead, trying to check on our position. And they've naturally reported to him that there is no island here. There isn't, as far as the fleet navigators know.
But that's what's funny about it. How did Johnson get that message without me getting it here?
Why, Jerry, you're right. Our radio should have picked up the ship's message. And if we can hear Johnson 300 miles away, why couldn't we hear the ship standing within a few miles of us, possibly right over our heads?
For a mighty good reason. The ship didn't send any message.
You mean...
I mean it's a gag, a bluff. Johnson's trying to put over a message to us, telling us that he's near enough to know all about the fleet being right on our position and...
to J24Y. Johnson to Bradford on J24Y. Flash from fleet in maneuvers. Small cruiser or yacht reported burning at sea near your last position. I am going to disregard your orders and sail at once. The bosun threatened to go without me. Says it's an easy course and he can navigate it alone. So I have decided to go. If your radio is dead on the transmission side, but you can receive this, use manual signals to one of the fleet. I will contact them and pick you up. Sailing at once. Expect average 40 knots. J12C to J24Y. Will call from harbor at Pedro. Johnson.
No, it's getting more mixed up.
It's all right, Jerry. That was in code. And Johnson used a long story to cover up the 10 or 12 words of value he put carelessly in the middle of it.
Well, tell me about it then. I guess I missed it.
I hope G47 did, as it's certain they'd be listening to the message.
Well, what's it all about?
Johnson said the bosun was going to take the boat out without orders if he wouldn't sail. The bosun, Jerry.
Gee, the bosun. The homing pigeon. Boy, is that slick. And I missed it.
I wonder if we should try to find Tex or get word to him.
I'm not so sure about that. We might get all excited and give the thing away. And if G47 knows we're getting any message of value over that radio, it'd soon rip it out of here.
On the other hand, Jerry, it's only by allowing us to keep the radio and intercepting our messages that G47 has any chance to learn of our plans. No, I think we'll be allowed to keep the radio.
Well, we could send the skipper after Tex and Joan.
Yes, but I'm not sure, Jerry. Let's think on it a few minutes.
How about my trying to send a message to Johnson? Maybe we could word it so G47 wouldn't make anything out of it.
Well, it might be all right, Jerry, and it would help a lot if Johnson could know that the bosun was on his way to him. But it's too dangerous, I think. We'll just have to wait for Tex and see what he says.
Hello, folks.
Tex, where's Joan?
She's in submarine lock 6, right next to this one. And there's going to be something doing mighty quick.
What's going on, sir?
That last message of Johnson's. I was in the communication chamber getting a lesson on how hopeless our situation is here when that message came into you.
Yes, Tex, and did you understand it? Did you get what Johnson meant about the bosun?
Sure, I got it, but the trouble is that G47 got it too.
What?
Golly, that's bad. You mean G47 knows we sent that pigeon to Johnson? And that Johnson's close enough to receive it right now?
Worse than that, son. They've got directional graphs and range finders in that control room that make anything we've got look childish. And 30 seconds after Johnson's message came, they located him in their directional finders. And they know his position to the fraction of a second.
But, Tex, I know that's bad, and it will hurry Johnson into running away the moment he gets the message off the bosun. But after all, G47 can't do anything about it. He doesn't dare make a move with his battle fleet playing around right over our heads.
That's what I thought, too, but I didn't realize how desperate these scientists are or how much that formula means to them.
But, gee, Captain Bradford, they're not going to try to stop that pigeon with all the battleships around here, are they?
No, not the pigeon, for they're smart enough to realize they can't afford to fight with this fleet just at this time.
But Joan said they could destroy battleships quickly and easily with their ray guns.
So they can, but it would bring the rest of the world down on them. And they're not just ready for that. They've got to have my formula first, and then they will be able to attack the entire world or defend themselves against it.
Gosh, what's it all about, Captain? They just simply can't do anything to that pigeon without the battle fleet seeing them do it. Jones said their large ray guns weren't accurate enough to pick that pigeon out of the air over 50 miles away. And he ought to be nearing that now.
Of course, Tex. You're just worried by seeing their wonderful equipment. Jerry's right. They couldn't hit the pigeon with a ray. And Tex, more than that, we're submerged. They can't even use the air rays. And a submarine ray wouldn't hurt the pigeon any.
No, a submarine ray wouldn't hurt the pigeon any. But a submarine would hurt Johnson.
Golly whiskers, Captain.
Tex, not with this battle fleet right around here. Why, they wouldn't dare.
Maybe not, but they're going to just the same.
You mean they're going to send a submarine out after Johnson's boat with all these surface ships and maybe a sub or two of their own out there?
Just that, son, and I want you to go along with them.
Huh? Me? Me go in the submarine?
Why, Tex, you don't know what you're suggesting.
It's not a suggestion, it's an order. You want to sign on this yacht as a member of the crew, didn't you, Jerry?
I did, sir.
All right. Report to Submarine Lock 6 immediately for observation duty on the Euclidean submarine.
Aye, aye, sir.
But, Tex, if anything should happen...
That'll do, Pat. Jerry's going with that sub. You'll follow the ramp back into this lock. Turn left at the end of the lock. You'll find a guard there to take you to the sub. Come on, snap it up. You're holding them up now. Shove off.
Aye, aye, sir. Any special orders?
Keep your eyes open and your mouth shut. Use your own judgment. That's all.
Tex Bradford, do you realize what you've done? You sent that boy out there into certain danger. I could almost hate you for that.
Oh, I'm sorry, Pat. But I'm in command of this expedition, and it's the only thing to do. I wanted to go along, but G-47 was too smart for that. He figured I might be able to warn Johnson some way when we got near him, or beat them to the note I sent with the pigeon and destroy it.
But Jerry will have to stand by and watch them sink our other boat, with Johnson and the crew on board.
No danger of that. They want the equipment on board too badly. All Jerry will have to do is to keep his eyes open and warn Johnson not to resist. He'll do that. The kid thinks fast, and they were afraid to let me go.
Oh, I understand. I'm sorry I was so... Tex, where's Joan?
Joan, why? Oh, she'll be all right. Jerry'll take care of her.
Jerry? Then Joan... Tex, Joan is going on that submarine?
Yes, dear. G-47's orders. He knows we won't dare to make a move to contact this battle fleet or harm the sub in any way with Joan and Jerry aboard.
Joan. And Jerry.
Steady, dear.
I'm not going to pieces, Tex. I was just thinking how safe the future of the world is in the hands of young people like that.
Down in a submarine lock, 50 feet below the surface of the Magic Island, Jerry and Joan are waiting for their orders to go aboard the Euclidean submarine, which will go out to capture Johnson on Mrs. Gregory's other boat. G-47, powerful leader of the group of scientists on the island, has demanded that Jerry and Joan go with the submarine as a guarantee that Captain Bradford will not attempt anything to interfere with the safety of the underwater vessel. Jerry and Joan are standing near the entrance to the submarine lock.
Now, you must be patient, Jerry.
Gee whiz, patient. Do you know we've been standing here for a half an hour?
Isn't that better, Jerry?
Better than what?
Better than having spent the half hour in the submarine and being a half hour nearer to capturing your friend Johnson's boat.
Yeah, Joan, you're right. Oh, you're always right. And it gets my goat to have a girl be always right.
I will try to be wrong, Jerry, if it will make you feel any better. But it will be very hard for me to be wrong about anything.
Oh, is that so? You sure hate yourself, don't you?
No, Jerry, I do not hate myself. Why should I?
Forget it. Just act like I didn't start it. Now then, we've been standing here a half hour and nothing happened. Can't we even look into the lock and see what it's all about?
No, Jerry. We must just stand here and wait. We will be told when we may enter.
Oh, golly whiskers, Joan. This thing's getting on my nerves. And I'll bet your mother and Captain Bradford are plenty nervous down there in the yacht, too, worrying about us.
You should say up there in the yacht. The yacht is on a higher level than this lock. We're on the floor of the 5th level, 50 feet from the surface of the island.
Gee, and the top of the island is 40 or 50 feet below the water level. We're pretty near 100 feet below the water. And that's something else I don't like.
What is that, Jerry?
Oh, I'm afraid that when we get in that submarine, It'll shoot right up to the surface. And one of those battleships practicing up there will think we're the target and let us have a few rounds.
Oh, no danger of that. These Euclidean submarines can travel safely and swiftly at a depth of over 200 feet.
Well, it beats me. I don't see how they do it.
I think you will see many things, Jerry. The commander is coming.
Where? I don't see anybody.
The door into the lock is opening slowly. That means the commander is coming down the companionway to the lock and has released the lock mechanism.
Who is this commander we're going to take this crazy trip with?
I will not know that until I see her.
Until you see her?
That is what I said.
Her? You mean a woman is going to command this submarine?
Of course. All the submarines are commanded by women, as nearly all the other mechanism on the island is.
What for? Are they short of men on this place?
No, but G47 says the cleverness of the men is needed to design and build these instruments of destruction. A woman is only fit to run them.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
The door is nearly open now, so the commander should be here any moment. Yes. Look, Jerry, here comes the crew.
That first guy is big enough to use a submarine for a rowboat. But where's the rest of the crew?
The rest? I do not understand, Jerry. He is the crew.
That guy? One man? Is the crew of a submarine?
Precisely.
Don't say that, precisely. Sounds like old G47.
Step aside and let him pass, Jerry. Do not speak to him.
Okay. I don't like his looks anyhow.
I have orders from G47 to take you on this voyage, Cleostra. You will enter immediately following the commander and take your orders from her.
I understand, SE-1.
Is this vacant-faced stripling of the world to accompany us?
Is that me?
Yes, Jerry. G47 instructed me to keep this man near me at all times. He will serve you when the objective is reached.
G47 orders will be carried out. But how this open-mouthed object could serve anyone is not clear to me. Stand by for the commander.
Yes, sir.
Now, look here, Joan. I've had all I'm going to stand of this. One-man submarine crews floating up to me without a sound and making cracks about me. I'm going to tell
You will do nothing. Remember Captain Bradford's orders.
Yeah, I know. And it's only that noiseless paint on everything that makes them seem to be sneaking around the air. But if you forget for a minute, you get the jitters.
Stand aside. Make way for the commander.
Huh? The commander? That beautiful girl?
Yes. Now, quiet.
So we are to have the charming Cleostra with us. SE-1 will enjoy that. He will probably find some excuse for making your journey anything but pleasant.
I am ready, Commander.
So I observe. And I have also G47's instructions regarding this ballast.
You mean me?
As you are the only object in this chamber possessing visibility, but no other apparent useful quality, it should be natural that I referred to you.
Say, now you look here.
Jerry, say no more. I am sorry, Commander, but this gentleman is not accustomed to our ways. He knows nothing of our activities.
Obviously, he knows nothing about anything. G47 prepared me for the meeting with him by saying his intelligence was 0. But it appears now that even the science of mathematics must be overthrown. It is possible to subtract from 0.
Say, I'm going to
Silence, fool. You will speak when spoken to. Cleostra?
Yes, Commander.
You will bring this into the lock. Observation is permitted. Questions are not. I will summon you when ready. G47 is coming to give you final instructions.
Jerry, be calm and keep quiet. You will spoil everything if you are not careful. And remember that we have the only chance there is left to protect Johnson and possibly save Captain Bradford's formula.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. But she got my goat. You know, she's the most beautiful woman I ever saw in my life. Ah, but she's just a blame machine. A hard, cruel machine. Like everything and everybody else here on Euclidia.
Oh, Jerry.
Oh, now cut it out, Joan. I didn't mean you. You're not like the rest of them here.
But you said she was the most beautiful woman you had ever seen.
Oh, Jiminy Crickets. I didn't mean that, Joan. You're the most beautiful girl I ever saw.
Am I, Jerry?
Sure you are. The commander ain't so much for looks, I guess. It's just that I got a surprise seeing a young woman handling a job like this.
You will see women doing many things on Euclidia, Jerry.
Oh, I believe you. Well, when do we start this deep-sea cruise with a woman skipper and a one-man crew?
The commander said G47 was coming with final instructions for us. We may go into the lock and wait for him. There you can observe the mechanism which holds the nose of the submarine into the island.
Oh, let's have a look. This isn't a very big door, but I guess... Hey! We can hear our feet again!
Yes, this is one of the compartments on the island that is kept noisy for a reason, Jerry. Every sound made in this lock registers in the control chambers, and the scientists know what is happening here at all times.
Well, I've got no secrets anymore. Boy, this island has sure taught me one thing.
What is that, Jerry?
Better say something good about everybody, because every time you don't, the guy is standing right behind you.
Now, Jerry, you can see the submarine.
Where? Hey, is that wall glass?
No, transparent steel. They use some glass in the fusion with the steel, and the resulting hardness is greater than that of steel, with the visibility of a poor grade of glass.
All right, I'm sold. It's steel, but you can sure see through it plain. Gee, look at all the fish out there. What a place to study fish from.
We may come here and do that some other time if you wish, but you are not looking at the interesting part of the lock.
It's all interesting to me, but what do you mean?
The nose of the submarine is screwed into that wall.
Hey, what are you talking about? You mean there's a union or a joint of some kind on the wall that screws onto the nose of the sub?
Not at all. The submarine is rammed into that hole, then it is revolved.
The sub is revolved?
Precisely.
What did I tell you about that precisely?
Oh, I'm sorry, Jerry.
Okay, let it go this time. Now to get back to this boat thing. You mean that the whole boat, a 100-foot submarine, is revolved until the nose is screwed tight into that hole?
Exactly, Jerry. Then the water is pumped out of this room and the hatch in the nose opened.
Well, of all the wild things I ever heard of. Then when we get into that thing now, they'll shut the nose up, fill this room to equalize the pressure with the water outside, and then roll the boat over and over till they get it loose from here?
Yes, of course. Jerry. Why, what is the matter, Jerry? You do not look well.
Oh, I'm all right, I guess. But it makes me feel kind of funny to think about us being in that boat when they wind it up out of there. There must be 20 or 30 threads around that hole. Are they going to turn that boat over and over 20 times with me inside of it?
24 times, Jerry.
Oh.
But you will not turn over with the boat.
You mean I won't know it when I do? Well, maybe you're right.
No, Jerry. Just the shell of the boat turns. The inside assembly, the turbines, the compressors, everything stays on an even keel while the boat revolves around it.
Well, I hope it comes out all right, but I feel kind of green.
You look a peculiar color, too.
Well, I thought so.
Are you ready?
No. Oh, no.
We are ready, sir.
Your instructions are brief. You will make every effort to get this man Johnson to submit peacefully to bringing his boat to the island. If you fail, the commander will know what to do.
But how are we going to do this, G-47?
You will decide that for yourselves. As for you, Cleostra, if you allow this young fool to make a mistake, you will be left with the wreckage of Johnson's boat 300 miles from here.
I understand.
On your way. Do not keep the commander waiting.
Go on, Jerry. Crawl into that hole in the nose of the boat.
Just go into it head first?
Yes, hurry.
Okay, here goes. Okay, come on in, Joan. Are you all right?
Of course, Jerry. Oh, Jerry, take your hand away from there, quick.
Oh, gee, that thing nearly caught my hand. Look at old G-47 grinning back there.
Now he is closing the door of the lock. See? And it will begin to fill with water. You and I will just sit here and be quiet.
There comes the water into the lock. Look, Joan, we can see right out into the water, just as if this boat was made of glass.
Yes, but no one can look in from the outside.
Boy, this is some long submarine. The commander looks about a half a mile from here.
She is 40 feet from us. Now, Jerry, she's reaching for the lever. We will start to revolve and clear the lock.
You mean we're going to go round and round now?
Yes, Jerry. See, the wall is beginning to move past us.
Oh.
Jerry, what is the matter? We are not turning over.
No, but the ocean is, and that's worse. Oh.
Over 90 feet below the surface of the ocean, Jerry and Joan are shoving off the magic island in a Euclidean submarine. This immense cigar-shaped boat, 100 feet long, capable of a speed of 40 miles an hour underwater, has a crew of only one man and is commanded by a beautiful Euclidean woman. All this is almost too much for Jerry, and when the boat is spun rapidly, over and over to clear it from the lock in the island wall, Jerry has a feeling that perhaps he wasn't cut out for a sailor's life after all. The submarine is just pulling away from the island.
Are you all right now, Jerry?
Oh, I don't think I'll ever be. Oh, Joan, when I saw the sides of this boat going past me like a moving picture, oh, boy.
Have you ever been in a submarine before?
No, and never again. It's not so bad now, though. But what's making us go through the water? Why doesn't that she-skipper up there turn on the engines?
The engines, as you call them, are on. The motive power is active now, although very little of it is being used.
I don't hear anything or see anything running. Can't even hear the water going past the outside. But I can see it all right.
The motive power is a gas, a very powerful explosive gas generated in those tanks and blown out through exhaust pipes.
But they couldn't carry much gas in those tanks. How far can this boat cruise on the gas they've got aboard now?
I do not know how many cubes of the solidified gas the commander is carrying, but I have known one of these boats to run from Euclidia to York, California, and return.
What? 8,000 miles without refueling?
Yes, Jerry. Is that so much more than your boats will do?
I wouldn't even tell you what's the best our boats will do after that. 8,000 miles on the water. At what speed?
I think the regular cruising speed does not exceed 30 knots per hour.
Oh, that's too bad. The regular cruising speed of a boat in 15 fathoms of water is only 30 miles an hour. What holds it back?
Is that not good, Jerry?
Look, Joan, I wouldn't kid you. It's so good that nobody in our world even dreams about such things. We put them in nice, big, strong houses and take care of them if they talk like that. Hey, look at the shadow coming down through the water. Is that a whale?
Of course not. That is the shadow of one of the battleships overhead. Had you forgotten we are under a fleet of ships maneuvering?
Oh, yeah. Well, I forgot a lot of things when I got into this boat. Gee, right over our heads is a fleet of battleships, maybe from the United States, though any other country would do just as well. And here we are. No way in the world to get word to them. And this woman commander has taken us out to capture your mother's other boat.
Yes, Jerry. And you must be very careful what you say and do. The commander is a very hard woman. And SE-1, the submarine engineer, is nothing but a human machine. You will find no sympathy or kindness if you cross either of them.
Your mother felt pretty bad when Captain Bradford ordered me to go on this submarine. But, well, I guess Tex knew what he was doing.
Captain Bradford has great faith in you, Jerry. And he knows you will find a way to warn Johnson of our coming. If there is a way.
But there isn't. And I can tell you, from the looks of this thing here, there isn't going to be. And even if I could warn Johnson, what could I tell him?
If he could only get away from here, his boat will travel faster on the surface than this one under it.
Yeah. But if I scare him away, even if I could, it might be the worst thing in the world to do.
I do not see why, Jerry.
Because it'll take that pigeon 3 or 4 hours more to get to his boat. And if the pigeon is lost, we can't do a thing. Our only chance is to find Johnson and have him stay as close as he is and hope the pigeon gets to him before we do.
The pigeon had over an hour's start ahead of us, Jerry.
Yeah, and that pigeon can fly as fast as this boat will go. But when Johnson won't have time to do anything before the boat catches him.
It all seems very hopeless, Jerry. But something may give us a chance to aid Mr. Johnson.
I'm getting tired of G47 and all his men never making a mistake. I bet if we could use our heads a little, we could figure some way to outsmart that girl up there in the control seat.
It would not be wise to try it.
Gee, she heard me.
Of course, Jerry. These submarines are covered by a system of microphones and amplifiers. When will you learn that there is no privacy among the Euclideans?
Well, can we come up and talk to you, Commander?
You may speak to me from there if you have anything to say.
I got plenty to say.
Proceed.
Well, forget it.
It would be as well for you to forget it.
Please, Jerry, Do not try to say anything more.
J12C to J24Y.
Johnson!
Yes, Jerry.
J12C
On the radio in
to
this cell.
J24Y. Hello, J24. Hello. Must have a report from you, J24Y. We'll stop sending and change course if no answer to this call. J12C to J24Y.
What can I do now, Joan?
You will come up here to the control section at once.
Do as she asks, Jerry. I will stay here.
But, Joan...
I know best, Jerry. I would have been asked to come up if I had been wanted.
Hurry, you fool.
I'm coming. Sit tight, Joan, and don't worry.
Be careful, Jerry. Do exactly as the commander tells you. Be very careful, Jerry.
You will sit here and do as I tell you. Sit down there.
Now what?
My microphone is before you, and you will send this message to J12C. I have been waiting for his call to get his wavelength. You will send the following message.
Send it to whom?
You know perfectly well. This is the message. You will call J12C exactly as you would from the Gregory yacht. You will call him in a natural manner. Tell him you are all safely on the island, but the yacht is wrecked. You cannot leave, and he must come to you. Answer any questions he asks, but answer them carefully. Make it plain that he must hurry to the island.
And then what happens to Johnson when he gets to the island?
Do not act stupid. You know as well as I that Johnson has the material aboard for compounding Captain Bradford's formula, and that a pigeon left your yacht with instructions to Johnson as to how to use the formula to attack Euclidia. The pigeon may arrive at the boat, but Johnson will never use that formula. Now, send the message.
Yeah? And what if I don't?
You have seen these ray guns before, I think?
Jerry, do as you are ordered. You can gain nothing by refusing.
This is the funniest place. People talk to you from all over the boat.
You may gape at the wonder of this boat later. Now send the message, and remember, one mistake and I will use this ray gun. Then I will proceed to Johnson's boat and sink it with all on board.
All right. Oh, I'm ready. Tell me when to go.
At this depth and distance, I will need the generators. When I start them, watch the filament in that tube. When it glows, speak. And remember to say nothing to arouse suspicion. Now silence until you see that tube glow.
Now, you just take it easy, Pat. There's nothing we can do to help those kids out there in the submarine. And no way to get word to Johnson.
Oh, but Tex, just to sit here in this useless radio cabin.
Hold it, Pat. Listen.
Is that coming out of the radio, Tex?
Yeah, funny, too. It's on Johnson's private wavelength. He hasn't got any power on board that you could hear building up like that.
Perhaps something's happened to his boat.
I don't know. Since that last message of his saying he would change his course, I don't know what to expect.
J24Y to J12C. J24Y calling J12C. Hello, J12. Hello, J12.
Tex, it's Jerry calling Johnson.
Yes, and I don't like it. Jerry's in that submarine. I'll bet they're making him call Johnson.
J12C. Hello, J12. Jerry Hall on J24Y calling J12C.
Johnson doesn't answer.
He may be out of the cabin for a minute. Remember, he's been trying to get us for days without an answer.
Yes, of course. What can be going on in that submarine? Joan. Oh, if Joan's all right, I won't mind so much.
Hello, Jerry. J12C to J24Y. Go ahead, J24Y. Go ahead. I have a message for you, J12C, from Captain Bradford. We are safe on the island at position as given you before. Our transmitter has been out of order. Could not talk to you, but have heard all your messages. Yacht is completely wrecked. Cannot leave island. You must come to rescue. Island position, latitude 29 degrees south, longitude 124 degrees 30 minutes west. Hurry to the island. All standing it fine, except Bosun. He seems nervous. We'll be glad to see you. Come at once. Okay, J24Y. Okay, Jerry Hall. Coming at once. My position now is 25 degrees south, 124 west. Should raise you in less than 6 hours. 73s to all on board. Johnson.
Oh, Tex, Jerry is bringing Johnson right into all this.
I know it, Pat, but there isn't anything else he can do. I can imagine every move they're making on board that submarine. Jerry's sitting there with one of those ray guns in his back while he sends a message as G-47 or one of his assistants directs.
But the pigeon with the message to Johnson. Tex, it will get to Johnson's boat just too late to do any good.
That's the part of it that's going to come out all right. I don't know just how, but it will.
How can you say that? You know the pigeon will get to Johnson's boat only an hour or two before he meets the submarine. And Johnson doesn't even know the pigeon is... Why, Tex. Jerry's message.
Right, Pat. Jerry said the bosun was nervous. That's enough for Johnson. He'll know the bosun's flying out there somewhere with a message for him. He'll know there was something wrong with the message Jerry sent.
I wonder if Joan is all right on that submarine.
Joan's all right as long as Jerry is. He'll take care of her.
But how much could either of them do against the power of G-47 if he wanted to do something to them?
Not much, of course. But G-47 won't do anything to one of us until he gets his hands on my formula. We're safe until then.
He'll have the formula as soon as he gets Johnson's boat and the message off the pigeon.
No, he won't.
Well, you didn't send the formula with bosun?
No, but I did send the number of the safety deposit box where the formula may be found in Los Angeles. Only Johnson would understand what that number meant. So even if Johnson is captured, they still haven't the formula.
Then Johnson will simply be another prisoner on this island. And all of his crew and our other boat will be tied up here. We're only getting in deeper and deeper, Tex.
Yes, but we'll have quite an organization on this island then. It won't be so one-sided, and a lot of things can happen.
Tex, listen. Something's happened.
I'll see. Pat, get out of here quick. Run for that ramp up the side of the lock.
What's happened, Tex?
The lock gate's breaking. The ocean's coming in here, and we're 50 feet below the water level. Hurry, Pat. Come on, run. Go ahead, run.
Jerry and Joan are in a Euclidean submarine on their way to aid in the capture of Johnson and the Gregory rescue boat. Captain Bradford and Mrs. Gregory have been left on the captive yacht, inside of one of the submarine locks on the Magic Island. They have just heard a radio message from Jerry to Johnson, advising Johnson to bring his boat to the island at once. Knowing this means Johnson's immediate capture, Mrs. Gregory and the captain are sure Jerry is being compelled to send the message by someone aboard the submarine. Just as the captain and Mrs. Gregory start to do something about it, they hear a rush of water. Captain Bradford runs out on the yacht deck and sees water pouring into the lock.
Hurry up, Pat. Get out here quick. We've got to leave this boat.
What's the matter, Tex? That water rushing. Is it... The lock gate's broken.
Yeah, our only chance to is to find in this yacht and run up that ramp to the inside chambers of the island.
Oh, but this boat will be ruined and all our equipment's on board.
Can't help it, dear. Come on. This place will be flooded in a few minutes the rate that water's coming in.
But I don't see how it happened. That gate doesn't look...
Never mind how the gate looks, Pat. Come on. We've got to get out of here.
All right, Tex. Do we have to walk on this narrow little rock ledge here?
We do, and be glad to get it. Come on.
This noiseless paint on everything. I'm getting as bad as Jerry. I could only hear some noise when I walk.
Yes, well, at least Jerry and Joan are better off than we are now. They're underwater, but they're in a boat that was made to be there.
Right here, Tex, was where the door opened when G-47 came through it.
It won't be so simple for us to open one. No, I think it was further back up this ramp.
No, Tex, I was watching as he went back out the door. And that light, that bracket on the wall, was on the other side of him.
Well, hold on, then. You mean that as you looked up here from the deck of the yacht, G-47 was between you and this light?
Yes, I'm sure of it. He made such a weird figure as he stood silhouetted against that light.
And the door is near here somewhere. We'd better not be too long finding it. The rate the water's rising.
We can try pushing on this wall. Right here, I think.
No good. Things on this island don't work automatically. They don't work at all. We've got to figure how to get out of here pretty fast, or that water...
Tex, the water isn't rising anymore.
Huh? What? Not rising?
No, it's nearly still now.
But it couldn't have stopped. We're 50 feet below the water level now, with the whole island submerged. What could stop the water after the lock gate broke?
I don't know, but you can see for yourself. The roofs of the cabins haven't touched the top of the lock yet, and they were only a few feet below it to start with.
Right, Pat. Only about 2 or 3 feet of water came into the lock when the gate broke, and that's funny. I wonder...
What, Tex?
That's it. The island is rising again. That lock gate must be up to the water level now. Come on, let's go back down on the deck where we can take a look at it.
But why isn't the light showing through the broken gate if we're above water?
Because it's a couple of hours yet until daylight. Come on, we'll go back down and have a look at that gate.
All right. Like Jerry, I'm glad to hear our shoes make some noise.
Sounds like home, all right. Now, come on up the stern, Pat.
Captain.
There's the skipper, Tex. I thought he and the engineer had been taken to one of the cells on the island.
Well, he's here now. He didn't try to get out of this thing like we did. Something funny here.
Yes, Skipper? What is it?
Gates?
We saw the gate breaking.
No.
But we did, Skipper. The gate broke and the water rushed in.
No.
That gate didn't break?
No.
Well, what happened then?
Opened.
The gate opened?
So, it wasn't an accident then. Our dear friend G47 must have decided we'd been around here long enough.
Not that, Tex. If someone had tried to drown us, the water wouldn't have stopped as it did.
How about it, Skipper? You seem to have kept your head and found out a few things. What stopped the water?
Gate.
The gate was closed again?
But there must be some idea back of all this. These Euclideans are too busy now with the fleet of battleships playing around overhead and Jerry and Joan out in one of their submarines. No, it doesn't make sense for them to stop and fool with these lock gates.
Come.
Skipper's got something to show us.
When we sign him on for the next cruise, it's going to be in his articles that he add a few more words to his vocabulary. Guessing what he means is getting on my nerves.
Oh, steady, Pat, now. Skipper's all right. Maybe he doesn't talk much because he hears the rest of us talk too much.
Look.
Tex, the skipper's right. The gate hasn't been broken at all.
That's plain enough, but why was the water turned in here?
Look.
Where?
There.
Down in the water?
I
can't see much. Dark down there. Got a flashlight, Skipper?
Here.
Thanks. Now, then we'll have a look.
Well, I can't see anything down there.
There.
Oh, Tex, I see it. It's a fish, a big one.
Silver-colored. Peculiar shape, isn't it? Biggest fish shaped like that I ever saw. What is it, Skipper?
Torpedo.
What?
Torpedo.
Torpedo, eh?
Aye.
Then we're on the wrong boat. That thing's going to go off when it jars against this yacht.
Dud.
You mean the torpedo is dead? It won't go off?
Aye.
I'm beginning to see this thing now. Skipper, did you see that torpedo come in here?
Aye.
Was it an accident?
Nope.
But how could a torpedo be brought in here?
Magnetism.
Oh, then the Euclideans knew just what was going on.
Of course. I don't know why, but I can guess who. G47.
Precisely.
Oh, you startled me, coming out of the wall like that.
So you tried a little experiment on us, eh?
You were not considered.
I'll say we weren't. We might have been drowned.
That would have been no loss to me. But your destruction has no value in this plan. I merely wanted this torpedo, a stray shot from the fleet overhead.
You used your magnets to pull this torpedo in here after it was shot in target practice?
Precisely. I wanted to examine this type of projectile. I will send my assistants for it. You may follow me if you care to see what is happening in the submarine.
Tex, we can go and see what Jerry and Joan are doing.
Yeah, we'll take him up on that. See you later, Skipper.
Aye.
Why, there's a door in this wall within arm's length.
Now, here, step over the rail carefully, Pat. You'd better hurry and not get too far behind old G47. Might get lost.
I don't like to just sit here and do nothing while that girl commander does as she pleases with the submarine.
It will do you no good to attempt interference, Jerry. We are comparatively safe only so long as you restrain yourself from well-intentioned, though ridiculous and quite obvious approaches to the subject of possible intervention in this Euclidean plan.
Hey, quit talking like that. I got enough of a headache now without any big words. We got to figure what to do when we get under Johnson's boat with this submarine.
I can use little words as well as you, Jerry. You are a fool.
I'm a witch?
There is no shorter word for that. You're a fool.
Hey, how come?
You know that every word you say is being heard by the commander up there in the central control section. Why do you persist in talking?
Oh, because this gets my goat. Oh, skip it. I know it's slang, but when I'm excited, I have to think in slang to get anything done. All this mysterious stuff. Here we are in a submarine 100 feet long with a crew of one man and a beautiful girl in command.
So you do think she's beautiful, do you?
Well, I've got good eyes. Even if she is a Euclidean, she's a peach.
A peach?
Jerry, she is not a peach.
Enough of this ridiculous discussion. Silence, both of you. I wish the communication channels clear.
I'm sorry, Commander. Okay.
Now, Jerry, you must sit quietly and say nothing more until given permission. I warned you that our conversation could be heard all over the boat.
And is all that really coming from a submarine G-47?
Precisely.
We could hear them as plainly as if they were in this room. Yet they weren't deliberately using a microphone.
On Euclidia, we have ways of hearing anything we wish to hear.
Yes, I believe it. Well, as long as that girl skipper won't let the kids talk, there's nothing of interest for us to hear. Let's go back to the yacht, Pat.
Yes, even though it's helpless in a lock under 50 feet of water, I feel more comfortable there than here.
Well, thanks for the show, G-47. Will you excuse us now?
No, I will not. Come here. I want you to observe something.
You mean look in that prism reflector on your desk?
Precisely.
What's the use, Tex? You were fooled once by that thing.
Yeah, so I might see something anyway. Let's have a look.
I will enlarge this image for you. You will be interested in seeing the interior of the submarine from which you just heard. Look. Look.
Why, Tex, it's the inside of a submarine.
Don't get excited, Pat. We're 8 fathoms below the water level. So is the sub. And they're miles from here. Now, don't let it fool you.
But, Tex, look, Jerry and Joan inside the submarine. It's as clear as a photograph of them.
Yeah? Well, maybe this look is on a level. Yes, sir. Look. You can even see the expressions on their faces. Jerry doesn't look any too happy, does he?
You heard that woman commander tell him to be quiet. That's quite a punishment for Jerry.
Commander seems to be busy with the controls. Wonder what's going on.
Silence. The commander is about to communicate with me.
May we watch the image while you do your stuff?
You may, and you will notice the clarity of objects within the submarine, the perfection of the voice reception here. The television engineers in your world are hopelessly behind Euclidia.
Watch this, Pat. We're really seeing things now.
Commander S1 reporting to G47. 20 miles off Euclidia. Course due north. 25 knots. S1.
Your progress and course satisfactory, S1. Report on position of battleships near you.
Gee whiz. I heard G-47.
Yes, Jerry, of course.
Did you get that, Pat? The kids are hearing G-47.
Hey, Joan. I heard Captain Bradford.
Yes, the captain must be in the communication chamber. And my mother also.
Yes, Joan. Mother can hear you, dear.
Oh, Jerry, did you hear my mother?
Commander, you will take steps to secure silence on board?
Correct, G47. I will have silence.
Look out, Joan. She's going to use a ray gun.
It will be useless to try to avoid it, Jerry.
Say, if she hurts those kids...
Oh, Tex.
Silence.
Tex, look at the reflector. Jerry's fallen to the floor of the submarine.
I can hear you, Mother. Do not fear for us. We will be...
Now, there's no reason for what she's doing to those kids.
Silence.
There is silence on my command now, G47. Will report on battle fleet. 12 major units are taking part in maneuvers. 4 heavy cruisers doing long-range fire. 4 destroyers at